That's him, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, that's him, all right. Hey!
Me?
Yeah, you, come here.
What for?
Right. Name, address, and date of birth, please.
Surely, Sergeant, that's my business, not yours.
Hello? Yes, I'm Inspector Longton, Kate Longton. How can I help you, Mrs...
Stubbs. Mrs. Jennifer Stubbs. It may be nothing at all, Inspector, but I thought I'd best ring. My daughter says her teacher, Mr. Blake, is having sexual relations with one of the other girls in her class.
How old is the girl in question?
She's 15, same age as Susan.
I see. Look, I'd like to have a chat with her. Is she there this morning?
Yes, but she's gone back up to her room. She was out rather late at the disco last night, having a little rest now. I'm sure she'd love to talk to you, Inspector. It was her who suggested I phone you in the first place.
Really? I see. Would you give me your address, Mrs. Stubbs? I'll be with you in about 10 minutes, if that's all right with you.
Very good, Inspector. Look forward to seeing you then. Oh, yes, there is. The number is Hartley 41415. Bye, Inspector.
Are they coming, Mum?
Yes, dear. A woman inspector. Will you get dressed? She'll be here in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Blake. Just thought you'd like to know. I'm setting the police on you. They'll be in touch shortly. I'm letting them know about you and Carol Harding. About what you've both been getting up to.
Susan? Is that you again, Susan? Enough is enough.
Any sign of George yet? It's not like him to be late.
He gave me a hand collar and a chap in the high street ran off from the jeweller's when he saw me coming.
Jewellers?
Yeah, turned out he hadn't even been in there. Wouldn't give his name a tip out his pocket, so we brought him back here for a chat. Got a feeling we might have a bit of a prankster on our hands, man.
Really?
Yeah, there's something about his attitude that smacks of tomfoolery.
Make you take him.
Looks like it.
Well, if that turns out to be the case, hang on to him till I get back. I'd like a chat with him myself.
Will you be long, Mum?
Well, got a busy morning ahead of me. Oh, did you manage to slot the new arrival into Monday's duties?
Yeah, I thought...
Why, Mum?
Where's Brian?
I thought I'd put her on with Brian. Might put a bit of a sparkle back into his step.
Good idea. Has he said anything?
Not a word. He obviously weighs heavy.
Keep an eye on him. Let me know when a chat's on the cards.
Right, Mum?
The next step is to the cells, where we try and find out who you are. Is that what you really want? A weekend in the nick?
Satisfied?
We still haven't got the name.
Check for yourself.
Pilchard? Geoffrey Pilchard?
The very same.
Well, why didn't you tell us in the first place?
Would you?
The inspector in.
As far as I know, she is, sir.
Is the inspector interviewing at the moment, George?
No, sir. Joe's in there, chatting to a suspect.
Well, where is she?
Well, she's not in the locker room, sir.
Look, I've got better things to do than stand here on a Saturday morning playing a game of Hunt the Inspector. Will somebody kindly tell me where she is?
The loo, perhaps?
She's at this address, sir. A schoolgirl complaining of sexual abuse.
She tells CID.
Well, she did make a couple of phone calls, sir, but I'm not sure there were two.
I'll wait in her office till she gets back.
Well. Who's a picture of sweetness and light this morning?
Come down, Susan. The inspector's here.
Coming.
Would you like to sit down, Inspector?
Thank you.
Tea?
Not for the moment, thank you. Is your husband at home, Mrs. Stubbs?
No, I'm afraid he died 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Road accident. Susan was with him at the time, but luckily she came out of it totally unscathed. Oh, here she is now.
Hello, Inspector. Sorry to cause such a fuss, but thought best get it out in the open.
There's nothing you can charge me with.
Oh, isn't there now?
I haven't done a thing.
Yes, you have. You've made me run, and that's not on. And I want to know exactly what it was all about.
Do you always wear school uniform on a Saturday, Susan?
Sometimes.
Oh, come on, Susan. I've never seen you wear it before.
Mother, don't embarrass me in front of the inspector.
Sorry.
I just thought I should wear some other than jeans for a change.
I believe you want to tell me something about one of your teachers, Susan.
Yes, and about Carol Harding,
Carol Harding.
a girl in my class. Her and Mr. Blake, our form teacher. They're lovers.
What exactly do you mean by lovers, Susan?
What do you think I mean? They make love.
Have you seen them making love?
Of course not. But everybody in our class knows about it. They're the talk of the school.
DCI Perrin here. Let me speak to Walter. Walter, you stupid...
You do realise what a serious allegation it is you're making, Susan. It's an offence that's punishable by imprisonment, having sexual relations with a girl who's underage.
I'm only saying what I know is true. What everyone in the school knows.
How?
How?
How do you know it's true?
He's forever putting his arm around her shoulder in class. Getting her to stay behind late to help tidy things away. You know, stuff like that.
Well, surely lots of teachers put their arms around the pupil's shoulders,
It's
Susan.
the way he does it, though. As if she was special.
How about you?
Me?
Does he ever put his arm around your shoulder?
Just let him try it. I'd be into the headmaster's as quick as a flash.
I wondered about that. Why didn't you go to the headmaster with this complaint in the first place instead of getting your mum to call the police?
Her and Mr. Wilkinson don't exactly hit it off.
Why? Why don't you hit it off, Susan?
He's forever picking on me about my timekeeping and my work. You know, stuff like that.
Does your form teacher also pick on you?
A bit. Not as much as Wilkinson, though.
Is Carol a friend of yours?
She used to be. Till she started going out regular with him. Now I think he's warned her to keep away from me. Probably thinks I'm a bad influence or something.
Do you think you are?
What sort of a question is that, Inspector? It's this teacher you should be checking up on, not Susan.
Mrs. Stubbs, when anybody makes an accusation against a third person that could lead to prison, I make very careful inquiries indeed before deciding whether to even talk to him or not.
She hasn't rung in. Come in. I see. Right, that's all.
Just about to get a brew organised, sir. Wonder if you'd like one while you wait.
No, thank you. Joe, who have you got in the interview room?
Geoffrey Pilchard. Ran off behaving suspiciously from a jeweller's in the High Street. Me and George Parrish brought him in.
On what grounds?
Wouldn't give a name or allow a search.
You called him Geoffrey Pilcher?
Oh, aye. As soon as he got within sniffing distance of the cells, he emptied his pockets and provided identification.
Checked out.
Yes, sir.
Any previous?
Clean as a whistle.
Then what's he still doing on the premises?
Obviously a bit of a prankster, sir. The inspector wants to talk to him when she gets back.
What about?
Well, I wouldn't know. Possibly about wasting our time?
Yes. Well, one could find a few words to say on that subject to the inspector. Right, turf him out.
Beg your pardon?
Tell him he's free to leave. We have no right to keep him. We can't hang on to people at a whim to teach them lessons about not wasting our time. No buts, Joe. If we're not going to charge him, and he's guilty of nothing but looking guilty, then he's free to leave.
So what do you think of Mr. Blake, Susan?
It's all right, I suppose.
Can you describe him for me?
Well, he's sort of nice, really. He's got lovely dark eyes. And he smiles a lot, too. Particularly at Carol Harding.
What about the other girls?
What do you mean?
Does he smile at them as well?
Well, he doesn't get up to anything with them, if that's what you mean. He saves it all up for her.
Susan.
It's not what I meant. I meant, how does he behave towards the other girls in class?
Well, he's just nice to all of us, really. I mean, if it wasn't for her, he'd be terrific. Really terrific.
Do you think you might have a crush on him, Susan?
No way. He's old enough to be my father.
Would you mind waiting outside for a little while, Susan?
It's written all over your face, Inspector. And I think you're probably right.
So, what do you see there, Mrs. Stubbs?
Well, Carol was Susan's best friend. They fell out over something Lord knows what. Now Carol's ended up as teacher's pet rather than Susan.
Susan was teacher's pet?
Not quite the right word for it. He was just very supportive when Susan's father died. He used to give a lift home occasionally. Now, she obviously feels her nose has been pushed out of joint by Carol.
No, thanks.
It isn't easy bringing up a teenage daughter at the best of times, Inspector. But add to that losing someone we loved. I think you should just drop this whole matter. I'm sorry I called you.
I'm afraid it's not as easy as that, Mrs. Stubbs. Once this sort of thing is outside the school gates, we've got to check it thoroughly.
Can I help you, sir?
Yes, I hope so. My name's Michael Blake. I'm a teacher at Ridgefield Comprehensive.
I thought I recognised you. I've got two sons there.
Parent-teacher meetings, of course, yes.
Can't make them as often as I should, I'm afraid. So, what can we do for you?
I'd like to see the inspector, if I may.
Oh, she's not in at the moment, I'm afraid. Is it something I could help you with?
Well, not really, no. I think I should see a senior officer about this.
I'll be looking further into this matter, Susan, and most likely be back to talk with you again. Oh, yes, one other thing. When Mr. Blake gave you these lifts home...
Nothing ever happened, if that's what you're going to ask. I was always too busy crying. But what about Carol Harding's lifts? She's not crying. Laughing more like.
Susan.
At least 2 nights a week. Right to the corner of her street. Even though he still lives on the other side of town.
But you say nothing happened when he gave you a lift home. Why should anything happen with Carol?
Because with me, he didn't stop off in Longshore Lane. And pull off the road into the trees every time.
Are you sure about that?
Of course I am. We've seen them from the school buses we've gone past often. Why do you think all the girls are talking?
Do you have a telephone number for the Harding family?
Yes, it's in my book.
Could I make a couple of calls?
Of course.
Bit weird, coming to the station rather than sorting it out at school.
That's what I thought, sir.
The inspector goes and sees a girl, Susan Stubbs. And now we've got the girl's teacher outside saying she's also phoned him up. But he comes to us rather than keeping it in the system. Why? Covering his back, perhaps?
Possibility. Hard to say without a chat.
So I'll be at that address and phone number for about 5 minutes' time, Danny.
Very good, Mum. Oh, by the way, Mr. Perrin's here. He was asking after you, Mum.
OK. Put me through to him, would you, Danny?
He's on the line at the moment, Mum. Shall I go in?
No, that's all right, Danny. I'll talk to him when I get back.
Very good, Mum.
Right, George. Will you ask Mr. Blake to wait in the interview room?
Very good, sir.
I think you're right. Little chap might well be in order.
Will you come through, please, Mr. Blake? The chief inspector will be along in a minute. Splendid. Thank you, Sergeant.
Oh, sorry. Miles away. Can I help you, miss?
I'm WPC Sheila Saunders. An attachment from Monday. I thought I'd pop in, say hello, find out what my duties are. Hello.
Oh, hello. I'm Danny Sparks.
Any word from the inspector yet?
Yes, sir. She's gone in to interview a second girl.
Another one? Was she told I was here?
She asked to speak to you, sir, but your line was engaged.
Has nobody got feet in this station?
She said she'd speak to you when she got back, sir. DCI. Don't worry. He's not known for his placid temperament.
Here we go.
Oh, Sarge. WPC Sheila Saunders joins us Monday. Sergeant Parrish.
How do you do, Saunders? Pleased to meet you.
Sheila, I hope.
Ah, well, give it time. We'll probably get there finally. Right, I imagine a cup of tea would be in order to celebrate your arrival. Would you organise that, Danny?
Certainly, Sarge. That's come through, Sheila. Do you want one, Sarge?
No, thanks, Danny.
Very good of you to see me at such short notice, Mrs. Harding.
Always ready to help the police when possible, Inspector?
Your daughter's at home, is she?
Yes, she is. But first of all, I'd like to know what you're doing here, Inspector.
Doing here?
Yes. I mean, if a girl from school is causing problems at home, surely the first person you inform is the headmaster, rather than the police.
Ah, he was informed.
I see. So he suggested you call us.
No. In fact, he said he'd rather I didn't involve you.
But you still did?
Oh, yeah. I've got to put a stop to this mischievousness once and for all.
There's been a suggestion from a girl in Carol's class that a teacher at Ridgefield may be over-familiar with another girl. Naturally, without checking, we have no way of knowing if it's true.
Is Carol the girl in question, Inspector?
What makes you think that, Mrs. Harding?
Well, you came here at very short notice. It seems a fair assumption that Carol is involved somehow.
Well, I do have other girls to visit, and I was quite close.
Oh.
Is there anything in her manner that gives you the impression that she's involved in something?
No. Quite the opposite, in fact. She's never been so happy at school as she has this last year.
Did you ever wonder why?
Brian! But you're supposed to be at work.
I was parked outside. I saw him come in. Well, where is he?
Upstairs. I was just making him a cup of tea. Do you want one?
But why you? Why should she pick on you? Surely you must have some idea.
Yes. Her father died a couple of years back. All the teachers were very kind to her, help her over her grief. Perhaps me more than most.
Why?
Because I'm a form teacher, Mr. Perrin. I will be for the whole of her stay at Ridgefield. I tried to be supportive. The trouble was, it became obvious that she was getting too attached. Perhaps even started seeing me as a substitute father. I don't know. She started saying, would I give her a lift home of an evening, that sort of thing. And she was a very mature young girl, even then. I let her know it wasn't on.
Why should she presume that you'd give her lifts home? You do live on the opposite side of town to where she lives.
Yeah, in the early days of his death, she had quite naturally cried a lot. On a couple of occasions when she broke down in my class, I had given her a lift home.
And do you give any other girls lifts home, now that the car is free of Miss Stubbs?
I'm not sure I like your tone, Mr. Perrin.
May get worse, Mr. Blake. Depending on the answer you give me to the question you've just sidestepped. Do you give any other girls lifts home?
Yes. Carol Harding.
By bus?
Always.
Yes, as far as I know. Why?
I think I should be allowed to talk to your daughter now, Mrs. Harding.
I'll fetch her. Just one thing, Inspector.
Yes?
Is the teacher in question Mr. Blake?
I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to tell you. Why do you think he might be?
Oh, just he's her form teacher, that's all.
Are you sure that's all, Mrs. Harding?
Yes, quite sure, Inspector. I'll get Carol.
Does the headmaster know you give this girl regular lifts home?
Oh, I certainly kept it no secret.
That doesn't answer the question.
I don't know whether he knows or not.
If he did know, would he have pointed out to you the foolishness of getting too attached to one child?
I wasn't too attached.
What other girls did you give lifts home to, apart from her and Susan Stubbs?
None.
To the opposite side of town to where you live?
Yes, that's right.
And still you say you aren't too attached to her?
Look, Mr. Perrin,
I'll give you time to think about your answer, Mr. Blake. It's fairly obvious you need time to think. I want to talk to the inspector. Let me have that number. Thanks, Tom.
Would a cup of tea be in order for Mr. Blake, sir?
Yes, why not? Give him something warm to clutch on while he's pondering. I'm not too happy with this one, George.
He said he's coming down. Wants to talk to both of us.
I think, being honest, love, there's nothing much left to talk about. See, I knew when Jeff arrived in person rather than phoning what it would mean.
Be nice to be off tea making for a bit, mind?
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, a new boy's prerogative to organise the tea. Me having been a new boy for a long time now.
Now I'm the tea boy.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, cup of tea with 2 sugars in the interview room, please.
Right, sir. See what I mean? It's all go when you're in charge of making the tea.
And you've not heard any of the girls complain about any of the teachers?
None.
I want to talk to you about all the male teachers generally, but as you probably know him best, perhaps we could start with your form teacher, Mr. Blake.
Michael's all right. Bit too easy.
Michael?
That's his name. All the girls call him that behind his back. Not to his face, mind. He'd freak. He's lovely.
Would you say he had a favourite in the class?
Well, being honest, I suppose I'm his favourite at the moment. But that'll change in time.
Why are you his favourite?
Bit of a cheat, really. He's quite dishy. And I reckon the way to his heart is by education. I found out he could read Greek, so I started to learn it in my spare time, so he could help me out.
Is that why you started learning it? All your other work and Greek as well, I thought you were going potty.
What about the other girls? How did he get on with them?
Great. Except for Susan Stubbs, of course. She really hates him. Well, she used to really fancy him, but she frightened him off.
Carol, that's no way to speak about a friend.
She's no friend of mine. She's going to end up in jail. Only yesterday, she said she'd got this great guy she was meeting in a wine bar. 24, would you believe? And would I cover for her if her mum rang here checking up?
Why should her mum ring here?
Because she was going to tell her mum that she was here. And if she phoned up, I was supposed to say she'd popped out to the shops or something.
Excuse me.
Yes, it's Hartley Police. Is the inspector still with you? Oh, good. Can I have a word, please?
It's for you, Inspector. Hartley Police.
Do you have another phone I could use?
No, afraid not. It's only the one.
Thanks. Yes?
I have a teacher, a Mr. Blake, in the interview room. You'll be pleased to hear I think he's about to reveal all.
No, I won't be pleased. What are you doing involved?
This morning's spat is over. I'm sorry I said those things about your mysterious boyfriend of last night. Now let's get back to being police officers and being civil to one another.
I've never stopped. Look, I can't talk here. I'll be on my way back in 5 minutes. We can discuss it then.
Okay. Look forward to that. By the time you get back, I'm pretty sure I'll have everything out in the open for you.
No, leave it alone, please. You don't know the whole story.
Don't I now? Just you ask the little girl who he takes for rides in his car.
I have every intention of doing just that. Now, if you'll excuse me, sir, I must get on.
Yes.
The bloke in the interview room, sir, says he's ready to go if you finish with him.
Not by a long shot, Danny. Not by a long shot. Perhaps you'd be good enough to inform Mr. Blake that if he insists on leaving, we'll have to consider arresting him.
For what, sir?
Just pass on the information, see how he reacts. If he doesn't head for the front door, I'll be in a couple of minutes.
Right, sir.
Yes. Stay with him.
Yes, sir.
I'll probably be talking to you again, but I think that about covers everything for the moment. Oh, yes, there is one thing. How do you get home from school?
On the bus.
Always?
Unless Michael's dropping me off, that is.
It gives you a lift?
Occasionally, once or twice a week. Practice verbs on the way.
You never told me.
Didn't think it worth mentioning.
He drives you straight home?
Sometimes stop and check things in the book, but that apart, yes.
Does he live this side of town, Carol?
No, the other side, Padley Way. But his mother lives just a couple of streets away. And it's when he's visiting her that he drops me off.
His mother's dead.
What?
Do you know him, Mrs. Harding? Michael Blake?
Only parent-teachers, that sort of thing. But I did know his mother. Used to have tea with her. And I attended her funeral just over 5 years ago, Inspector.
But why would he lie to me?
I'm sorry I can't offer you anything else except my deepest sorrow. They sent the report direct to me, Brian, as requested. I got it yesterday, as a matter of fact. But I decided rather than to tell you straight away, I'd go into the surgery this morning, early while it was quiet, and bring round some of my colleagues. See if they knew of any new treatment that was available anywhere in the world. I explained it was for Maid. There's nothing. Lots of research, but nothing that can offer any hope for your Linda.
How long has she got, Jeff?
Well, it's no more than 6 months, I'm afraid.
I just don't understand.
One more question, Carol. How friendly is he?
Friendly?
Well, is he the sort of teacher who's not afraid to show his affections? Does he put his arm around your shoulder, things like that?
Carol, what the inspector's trying to
Mrs.
say...
Harding, I don't think there's any...
Have you had sexual relations with Mr.
What?
Blake? Have you had sexual relations with Mr. Blake?
No, with no one. I'm too young.
Well, has he ever touched you improperly?
He wouldn't, Mum. He's too nice.
Good. Now you take no more lips from him for his own sake.
Mum.
None. Will you go into the kitchen, Carol? I'd like to speak to the inspector alone.
You know, it's funny. Your face is really familiar. And I can't for the life of me place where I've seen you.
It's when you were coming out of the wine bar last night.
Oh, yeah, that's it. You passed some comment to my new lady. She got all snooty. She wouldn't tell me what you said, mind. You're not some ex-boyfriend of hers or something, are you?
That really is very funny in the circumstance. No, she is not my girlfriend, although I must admit she did look old enough last night. She is my pupil. And what I said to her was that she'd have to watch out that the police didn't catch her drinking underage in that wine bar. Susan Stubbs has just turned 15, Constable.
All I've got to say, Inspector, is leave it alone.
I think you know more about this than you're saying.
Well, be that as it may. What I am saying is don't involve Carol. Look, Inspector, my husband is a very nice man in the normal course of events. But he's very possessive when it comes to his only child. Now, if he ever discovered what we've been discussing here today, he might wrongly take matters into his own hands.
Is there anything else you want to tell me?
No. Only that it's a stupidity. Michael Blake is not a child molester, and certainly not a molester of Carol.
Don't look so worried. I have no intention of shouting about it here. But if I were you, I'd leave her alone. She's jailbait, lad. And bitter with it. It's because of her I'm sitting here at this very moment. I am an innocent man who is beginning to think he might just be found guilty.
Right. You leave me and Mr. Blake to talk by ourselves.
Yes, sir. Sir?
Yes?
Nothing, sir. What a flaming mess.
Well, Mr. Blake, little girls, lives in cars. What's the final story?
I thought I'd take a walk round town, Sarge. Come back a bit later.
Right, see you then. I'll let the inspector know you'll be back. Aha! The Wanderer returns.
Aye, he does that.
That was our new WPC.
What, that little girl who just went out?
My reaction exactly. I'll be amazed if she lasts 6 months. Are you all right, Brian?
Well, no, being honest, Sarge, I'm not feeling too hot at the minute. Do you mind if I go and have a sit in the locker room for a while?
No, of course not. Are you sure you wouldn't like to take some time off? Nothing much going on at the scene?
No, it's okay. I'll just go and have a bit of a sit and a think. Till I feel better, you know.
Brian, it can sometimes help to get things off your chest, talk things through, like. I mean, if there's anything you want to chat about unofficial.
No. Thanks all the same, but no thanks.
What do you think, Joe? Should I go in and try to get to the bottom of it?
No, I don't think so. Get the impression it's private rather than public. When the moment's right, I reckon we'll hear.
That's not good enough. Presumably there are guidelines laid down about what is and what is not allowed. You've broken them.
Yes, but...
So I'll ask you once again. Why did you persist in giving this girl lifts home against all the rules?
She's a very nice girl. And I was helping her with her Greek. It's not on the curriculum, Mr. Perrin.
And what were you hoping your reward was going to be?
None.
Are you quite sure about that, Mr. Blake? Are you quite sure?
Got to go out, Carol. Shan't be long.
Did you say something, Danny?
No, I didn't mean to. You won't believe what's happened. I've dropped myself right in it.
How come?
A little schoolgirl's only gone and dressed herself up to look like a 20-year-old. I've been taking her out. Her teacher's in the interview room with Mr. Perrin. He saw me with her.
Because I saw her coming out of a wine bar with some young chap, her breath reeking. And she knew very well that I would report her to the headmaster on Monday morning for drinking underage. She probably started this whole thing out of spite.
Can you prove she was drinking in a wine bar underage?
Ask her.
Presume she says it's not true. Can you prove it?
Ask at the wine bar. They're bound to confirm it, aren't they?
They'll say no if she was underage. So could you prove it, Mr. Blake?
No. No, I can't.
Is Mr. Perrin still here?
Yes, Mum. He's in the interview room with Mr. Blake, teacher from Ridgefield.
Well, where have they got Pilchard waiting for me?
He's gone, ma'am.
He's what?
Released.
Oh.
On Mr. Perrin's orders.
What a little slag, eh, to do a rotten thing like that. I mean, to a copper of all people. Oh, it's all right for you, Bri. You've got young Linda. I mean, you probably know how easy it is for kids to make themselves look older just by slapping a bit of makeup on. I mean, you understand that sort of thing, but am I going to...
No, I don't understand! I don't understand you, super stud! Kids are not paper handkerchiefs to be used and then chucked away by the likes of you. Kids are precious. Do you get me? Precious! If I hear my daughter's name mentioned by that dirty little mouth of yours again, Sparks, I personally will divorce your head from your shoulders. You've been warned.
What's all this shouting about the pair of you? What's going on?
Nothing, Mum.
Come on. What's going on, Danny?
It was me, Mum. I was telling Brian about a bit of trouble I'm in, Mum, and he sort of overreacted.
And the trouble?
The teacher in the interview room, Mum, with Mr. Perrin. He saw me coming out of a wine bar with one of his pupils. I thought the girl was about 20, Mum. It turns out she's 15.
Her name?
Susan Stubbs, Mum.
Did you tell Mr. Perrin?
No, I thought it best to wait till you got back, Mum.
Did anything happen between you and the girl, Danny?
Happened, Mum?
Stop playing the yokel. I haven't the time. Did anything sexual happen between you?
No, Mum, nothing.
Are you sure?
Yes, Mum.
When will you ever learn? If you don't grow up, Danny, you're going to find yourself back on the other side of the counter, and that's a warning. Right, I'm going to put a stop to this now.
Yes. I will tell you what I think. I think you've got a thing about little girls.
That's not true.
You've probably held yourself in check so far. If you have held yourself in check, it's more by luck than anything else.
It's just not true.
I think you've got a big problem, and that you need to get some treatment.
Could I have a word, Mr. Perrin?
Yes. I'll be back. The hell are you playing at? He was about to cough. Telling me he saw her coming out of a wine bar.
She was in the wine bar. I've just had it confirmed. Also, she's got a grudge against Carol Harding because she wouldn't cover for her while she went to the wine bar. Plus, Carol is teacher's pet, which has really put Susan Stubbs' nose out of joint. I just don't understand you. You have a body release that I want to talk to, and now you're holding someone who chances are I wouldn't even got round to interviewing in the first place.
So that's what this is all about. Bit miffed because I let your man go before you had time to teach him a lesson.
No, it is not what it's all about. It's about you interfering in the case that I have in hand without prior consultation to ensure we don't get our wires crossed.
I didn't ask him to come here. He just turned up on the doorstep.
That makes no odds. You could have asked him to wait till I got back, but no, you dived straight in the deep end.
I was just testing the waters.
Oh, no, you weren't. You were out to make a splash. You were angry with me and determined to beat me to it to teach me a lesson.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
It means that if you ring me up, as you did, at work at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, to cross-question me about who I was with the night before, you're not exactly behaving rationally.
Yes, madam. Can I help you?
My name's Mrs. Harding. The inspector came to see me this morning. I'd like to speak to her, please.
Could you have a seat for a minute, please? I'll see if she's free.
Thank you.
Casting aside your unfounded aspersions as to my motive, why did he take the little girl home nights and lie about his mother still being alive?
That's the only thing that still bothers me. Yes? Has she now? Thank you, George. I'll come through and have a chat. Maybe our answers just walked through the front door. Carol Harding's mother is outside.
Like me to come with you? Hold your hand. Show everyone we're still friends.
Hello, Mrs. Harding. I rang Michael Blake's home, and his wife said he'd gone to the police station and he hadn't come back. Is he being held here?
He's not being held, no, but he is here.
Well, could I speak to him privately?
I'm afraid not.
Look, I would like to get this business cleared up once and for all.
Well, perhaps you could tell me what it is.
No, it is private.
Oh.
Well, I'd have to check with Michael first.
The only way I could let you speak to him is if I'm present.
I haven't got much choice.
This way.
Kathy. What on earth are you doing here?
Hello, Michael.
Thank you, Arthur.
After all this time, why did you want to do anything so foolish, Michael?
It's irresistible, finally. She is a lovely girl, Kathy. And when she ended up in my class, my affection just grew out of all proportion. It was being close to her so much of the time that did it.
I suppose it would.
You know, it turned out that Jenny, my wife, she can't have children.
Wicked sense of humour the fates have.
Yes.
The inspector will have to be told, of course.
Don't you mind?
But being realistic, what other choice have we got?
Sorry about that, Danny.
It's all right, Bri.
Wrong time to mention young girls, that's all.
Is it your Linda, Bri, is this?
I'd rather not talk about it. But I am sorry.
Life's a bit weird, isn't it, Bri? I have a date who looks 20 and turns out to be 15, and we have a WPC who must be about 20 and looks 15. I don't know where I am anymore. It's confusing.
Life always is, Danny. It always is.
She gone?
Yes?
Good. Well, I'll get back to Mr. Blake, then we can compare notes.
He's gone as well.
Interesting.
No. Sorry tale to tell.
Do I get to hear the tale finally?
It's about a woman desperate for children. A short-lived affair with the son of an old friend of hers provided the baby she'd found her husband couldn't give her.
Good God. Michael Blake is Carol Harding's true father.
She doesn't know. Never will. He came to Ridgefield, became her form teacher, and the affection grew apace. Now common sense prevails. No more lifts, and hopefully no more talk.
Good, right. Well, that's that one out of the way. I look forward to seeing the report.
Is that really all you've got to say?
Yes. Putting aside any philosophical discussion, really, the moralities of the case, we're quits.
Quits?
I let your man go, you let my man go. Let's forgive and forget, shall we?
Hello? Really? Thank you, George. I look forward to having a chat with him. Not quite quits. Brian and Danny have just picked up our Mr. Pilchard again.
Running away suspiciously?
You've got it in one. From the arcade, stuffing an empty brown bag up his jumper.
Well, it'll be fascinating to find out what he's at, finally. And I'm sure we shall, finally.
Of course we shall. That's what teamwork's all about, sir.
Now, that's the attitude that will get you your promotion, Kate.
Next on Drama, we catch up with London's finest police. The good folk of Sun Hill are on the beat. In the bill.
Now then, missus. Split peas, boiled cabbage, fit for a king. Hey up. Hey up, you little swine.
Right, thank you for letting us know.
Morning, Joe.
Minute, ma'am, emergency. Hartley to 7499.
7499 received.
Go to Batley's Butcher Shop, Mannion Street. Investigate report of disturbance.
Attend inside. 7499 now.
What was all that about?
Woman rang in to report John Batley the Butcher chasing two young women down the street with a cleaver.
What?
Care to tell me what happened, sir?
Hey? Oh, they were just a couple of kids.
Good job it had wipe.
Kids. They've no better to do.
Is that it?
He chased us, Reuben. He chased us with a cleaver.
He might have killed us.
But in the face of the butcher, all you could do was run.
He was very angry.
A calf can't run. There is work to do.
If they come back, though, Mr. Batley, it might make more sense if you gave us a ring.
Listen, they were a couple of kids. I wasn't looking for scalps.
Painting slogans on shop windows doesn't seem to change a lot, that's all.
I thought we came up here to have a go at the animal experimenters, the laboratory.
Do something practical, set some animals free.
What we have to do is stop the people. Put them in fear of what will happen if they don't give up their filthy butchering trades.
How?
Yes, how?
We could let the people know we're here. Did anybody see this butcher chase you?
I remember, drive carefully and drive slowly.
I always do.
And listen, as I always remind you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dad,
Don't forget you've got to take me to tennis tonight.
So, Mr. Batley.
Well, I reckon he acted on the spur of the moment, Mom.
Well, it doesn't make any difference, does it?
Mom?
A murder can happen on the spur of the moment, Brian.
Oh, not John Batley. He's such a gentle soul.
All right. Put it all in your report.
Yes, Mom.
John Batley's all right. Never mind all the tales about the way his dad started up.
Started at what?
Butcher's shop. Used to be a farmer. They reckon he found a dead pig in his field, never looked back.
It's enough to make you stop eating meat forever.
Oh, I shouldn't worry, that was 30 years since. Must be on his third or fourth pig by now.
What?
Mind you, it must be murder following him around, waiting for him to kick the bucket. Hello, sir.
Sergeant, is Miss Longton in?
I'll just check, sir. It's Dr...
Cattrall.
Oh, Dr. Cattrall to see you, ma'am. The pathologist, ma'am. If you'd like to follow me, sir.
Hello, Doctor. Long time no see. What brings you here?
Hello, Doctor. Come on in.
It might be appropriate for Mr. Perrin to hear this.
Fine.
I hate that bloke, you know.
What's your language?
Well, not him exactly. What he does, cutting people up.
At least he doesn't eat them.
I'll give it over, Serge.
Yes, sir.
Present from the butcher.
Black puddings?
I hope so.
I've had a poisoned pen letter.
And you think it may be more than just a crank?
Yes. How did you know that?
I know you. If someone's written you a poisoned pen letter and you feel strongly enough to bring it here, I want to see it.
I was as careful as I could be about fingerprints.
Come through the post, did it?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't think so. There's a stamp on it, but...
Not Frank.
I got it when I went home for lunch. I made a copy of the text.
Oh.
That's what persuaded me to bring it in.
You like cutting things up. How would you like it if someone cut Eileen and Jill up when you weren't looking?
Eileen and Jill?
My wife and daughter.
Someone's got a peculiarly nasty way of thinking.
What about this? You like cutting things up?
Well, anatomy is one of my specialities, as you know.
Yeah.
And I do post-mortems.
And?
Well, we have some small mammals at the lab, at the university. We breed them, or buy them. Then we kill them painlessly, cut them up. We don't have a better way of teaching anatomy.
How would whoever wrote this know about you cutting things up?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
Are you in the phone book?
No. Oh, but that's because of the post-mortems, not the university.
So might this be...
No, the great British letter-writing public's interested in animals, not human beings.
That seems a very harsh view of the world, Doctor.
I've had a bad day.
Well, whoever wrote this knows you quite well. Your address, where you live, full initials.
That doesn't make the day any brighter.
We'll sort it out.
Thank you.
Look, we've marched till our feet drop off. We've waved banners till our hands bleed.
Direct action, Meg.
Well, I think it's stupid. Going back to the same shop.
Look, if they think we're all about butcher shops, we can do something practical for a change.
Like what?
Like the trout farm, like the battery chickens.
He's practically certain to chase us again.
Dr. Cattrall's had a very nasty poisoned pen letter making threats against his family. Ask the lads to keep an eye on his house, would you?
Right. Still over at Park Road, is he?
Yep.
Steaks. Fine. That's what I sell. That's what you get here. Now, up the road, oh, you get bits of lamb, bits of God knows what. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Mrs. Wilkins, you boil it up.
Boil it up, Mrs. Wilkins, and let it cool. And then see what you can scrape off the top of it. Some of the things they sell in some places I could mention.
Murderer.
Just up it, love, will you? Go on, up it before we all get cross.
Corpses of animals should not be for sale.
Look, love, wouldn't it be better if you just went quietly home?
Dead meat rots in the stomach.
Can you bear to be the charnel house of the animal kingdom?
Innocent beings have the life ripped from them in the name of profit.
A sheet of ribs, John, if you will.
Pork or bacon, Mrs. Wilkins?
Murderer!
Oh, just up it, will you? Go and eat your piece elsewhere.
Murderer. Good meal at Chokum, silly little faggot. Oh, give over.
Hey! 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 Hey!
Joe back?
He's just gone on the 999. Batley, the butcher.
Batley?
Batley Police? Yes. One moment, please. Talk a bit, devil. Yes, Mr. Batley. Yes, someone's on his way over, as a matter of fact. Fine.
What's going on, George? Come through.
Arthur.
It's simple, John. You'll have to make a statement, then we can charge him.
I'm not making a statement. And I don't want you to charge him. Because I don't want to spend days in court, do I?
Hey, they might go round other butchers' shops and do the same thing, you know.
Good. Well, they can make a statement. And they can go to court. And I'll pinch all their business.
What's this?
Mince.
I thought you had that in your hand.
So?
How long you been chopping up mince with a cleaver?
We've got one more very important job to do, and I'm not going to the police until we've sorted that out.
God, Reuben, if I'd known this was going to happen, I'd never have agreed.
We go to the newspapers first. Get some publicity.
That's stupid, Reuben. What can we say?
We could say that butcher hit Meg with a cleaver, couldn't we? Well, couldn't we?
They'll never believe us.
If they did, though, the police might just be on our side for a change.
Okay, come in, Joe. That's nice. Is it new?
Oh, yes. Come on,
Yes, Joe.
I've just been over to John Batley, the butcher's. Some damn fool's been in his shop and thrown a customer's meat on the floor. When Batley chased them, they either doubled back or somebody else did it. Thrown paint and grease all over his shop, made a right mess.
But that's not why you're worried.
Twice he took off after him with his chopping knife.
Yes.
Well, Brian Keller impressed on him this morning. It wouldn't be a good idea to do it again. He didn't stop him.
Natural reaction if he had it in his hand.
He was serving mince.
Point taken.
What did you do about it?
Read him the riot act, told him not to do it again. I don't think he was even listening.
Well,
I think you should...
I think you should go and look for those two young women, Joe.
Right, man.
Before Batley clobbers one of them?
Absolutely.
Not that I blame him. Oh, even though I'd still nick him.
My problem is the possible connection between this and Cuttrell. I mean, those two women might even be students of his.
Fair enough. It's something you grow out of.
What is?
Extreme opinions.
Like feminism, for instance?
I don't want to fight.
Then stop clenching your fists.
Your own knuckles have gone a bit white.
Can I say something?
Hmm?
People are going to talk if you insist on holding my hand all the time.
All right. Drink tonight?
Okay. See you in the White Crow.
Hello. Oh, hello, love. Nah, I've a bit to do. Go. Well, tell your mother to take her tablets, will you? And before you go out. All right. No, love.
take a look around the back.
Right, Sarge.
Morning, sir.
Sergeant?
Did you hear anything, sir?
No, I didn't.
Blanket pressed against the glass, probably.
Sergeant?
Sir?
I may have to go away for a couple of days. Will you be able to keep an eye on the house?
Yes, of course, sir. See that blue car at the end there? Does it belong here?
It's not one of the neighbours.
Morning, sir. I wonder if you'd mind giving us a hand.
Why would anyone bother with an operation like the one Catchall runs? Come in. Just a minute.
Excuse me, Mum. He asked me to let you know.
Yes?
Sergeant Beck's on his way back from Dr. Catchall's. They picked someone up in his road.
Good. Doing what?
Sergeant Beck didn't say. He just asked me to let you know.
Thanks, Brian.
Mum.
Yes, Joe.
Got a Mr. Bembo in the interview room. Says he knows you, wants to talk to you.
Mr. Bender.
Yeah, seems a straightforward enough character, willing to help. I thought he might have noticed somebody in the road.
Had he seen anything?
Well, I asked him to come down because he wanted to see you. Said he'd been involved in some case you'd have something to do with. I didn't want to start a wild goose chase, so...
What was he doing in the road?
He works for a firm of surveyors. He was doing a survey. It's been checked. What he says is right. As a matter of fact, it's not long since he surveyed Dr. Cattrall's house.
I'll have a word.
Hello, Inspector. Long time no see.
Hello, Mr. Benbow.
I thought I'd better make myself known.
Oh? Why?
Why do you think, Inspector?
Well, I think you'd better tell me.
I spent a long time in jail for something I didn't do. I didn't want there to be any more mistakes. I didn't want your sergeant finding out I had a criminal record and starting all that all over again.
A jury found you guilty, Mr. Benbow.
Didn't they just, Inspector?
Check Mr. Benbow's presence in the road, Sergeant. If you're not satisfied with his story, don't let him go till you are.
I came here of my own free will.
Didn't you just, Mr. Benbow? We checked with his firm, and apparently he was surveying a property in Cattrall's Road. We had to let him go.
Why?
Well, no reason to keep him. But we'll check with his supervising officer.
What did you nick him for last time?
He used to tie women up and threaten them.
Those. They get worse, you know, the more they get away with.
We caught him before he did any physical damage. He was just a useless, inadequate wimp, for want of a better word.
Is he married?
Yeah, he was. Nice woman. She was absolutely shattered.
Well, let me know what the supervising officer says. If he'll tell you anything at all.
Okay.
Hello, police. Don't be looking at your watch. Exactly 7 seconds late.
On time is on time. Late is late.
Now, there is a pole face. Anyone think you had a date? You're decent in a man of your age.
I don't see any connection between Benbow and Cattrall.
Oh, well, leave it to me.
Oh, Sergeant Beck gone?
Well, he's either gone or been beamed up.
Yeah, but is he coming back, though? Why?
What's going on?
I was just wondering if Sergeant Beck was coming back, Mum.
Why?
Oh,
Danny,
can I have a word, please, Mum?
come through.
Yes, ladies.
We want to report an assault.
Get that developed. After all, you found it in the middle of the road, and we don't know who it belongs to, do we?
No, Mum.
Well done.
Two young women have just arrived, Mum, claiming to have been assaulted by Batley in Mannion Street. One of them has a nasty shoulder wound.
When's this supposed to have happened?
Yesterday.
Well, why have they not reported it sooner? Are these the two young women who sprayed paint on the window of his shop?
They are, Mum, yes.
Let's have a little chat about this, shall we? It doesn't smell right.
Where can I get a roll of film developed quick?
Nick it over to Div HQ.
What's the problem? Well, I've got a feeling I'm supposed to be using my initiative, only I can't quite put my hand on it.
Yes, madam.
Hello. Is Inspector Lanton in?
I think she's busy at the minute.
Oh. I'm Esther Pearson. Someone's trying to sell me a story about a homicidal butcher. Do you know anything about it?
Would you like to take a seat over there for a minute, please, Miss Pearson?
They shout through the door, they run off, he follows, catches up with them, hits one of them.
Broadly, Mum, yes.
Then what?
Don't follow.
Well, did he aim another swipe? Does he run off stricken with remorse? Offer them his hanky? What?
I haven't got that far, actually.
One of them is wounded.
Yeah, Margaret Houghton has a bruised laceration at the top of her shoulder. Doctor's coming.
What was your impression of them, George?
Determined? Worried?
Okay, I'll talk to them.
I've enough to worry about me without carrot eaters.
Someone has it in for you, John. Mightn't be a bad idea to slip down the station and give us your version of events.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
It might be later on.
So long as you don't leave it too long.
Sounds official.
It wants writing down, John.
Go on. Could you go in, please? Yes, sir.
I witnessed an assault yesterday on a young woman. I don't particularly want to get involved, but it was serious, I think. It looked serious.
I see, sir. Can you just tell me what happened?
It was in Mannion Street. I saw this man take a swing at this young woman. Dealt her a heavy blow on the shoulder, side of the neck.
Tip-off.
Yeah.
Where from?
If you had a grass, you wouldn't tell me.
The only grass I've got's growing in my backyard because I can't get to weed it.
Is it true, then, this story?
I don't know. Some women squirted paint about in a butcher's shop. That much is true as far as I can see. As for the rest...
What rest?
Come in tomorrow, Miss Pearson.
Okay. Will it be worth my while?
If you don't come in, you won't find out, will you?
Are you asking me for advice?
Yes. Why?
I just don't want my head bitten off, that's all.
Mark.
All right, all right. Get the butcher in.
Yeah.
See if he'll give evidence against them. Because if he won't...
It might mean he has something to hide. Thanks. George, will you come in?
Yes, Mom.
Can you send someone to see Bartley?
Joe Beck's gone, on his way home.
To ask him to come in? Good. I'll see those two women now.
There's a man here, too, a Mr. Stone. He says he saw the assault.
Who is he?
Passerby, as far as I know.
Okay, I'll talk to him first.
Right.
Did you manage to get hold of Benbow's supervising officer?
Bringing me back.
Not ideal conditions, I'm afraid.
Doesn't matter.
Quite a lot of bruising. Who's your own doctor? Haven't you got one?
I haven't got one here, I'm afraid.
Why's that?
I'm away from home at the moment.
On holiday?
Sort of.
How are you for anti-tetanus immunisation?
I'm not sure.
All right. Come to the casualty department at the hospital tomorrow morning. Give them this. Tell them I sent you.
Thank you.
I'm amazed, frankly, Mr. Stone. I mean, you witnessed what seems to have been a murderous assault on a young woman, and yet you wait nearly 24 hours before you bother to report it. Why?
I didn't want to get involved.
Same question. Why?
Excuse me, why don't you get hold of that butcher and ask him why he hit her, instead of laying into me for giving evidence? You want to know why I didn't come in sooner? Precisely because of what's happening now. What's the matter? Don't I look respectable enough to have witnessed an attack on the member of the public? Am I too young or what? Perhaps I'm a socialist
That'll
even.
do. Full name and address.
Cattrall. This address. Thanks, Jack. I'll do you a favour sometime.
You're anxious to make a complaint?
I'm not anxious.
What then?
I just think someone ought to know. Don't you believe me?
Is there any reason why I shouldn't believe you? Hmm?
I don't know what you mean.
Are you in the habit of telling lies?
No.
What is it then? Did you perhaps do something which annoyed the butcher? Did you?
I didn't hit him with a cleaver, did I?
But you did something.
We sprayed some paint on his window.
Hmm? And you spilled paint all over his floor. And you knocked some meat out of one of his customers' hands. Yes. And the curious thing to me is you did all this after you knew he'd already chased you once.
Yes.
With a cleaver?
Yes.
Why did you go back? To see if you could provoke him enough to hit you?
Ask him to ring George Price at Hartley, will you? We're inquiring about a Derek Stephen Benbows, one of his clients. Yeah, when he comes out of court, will do. Where you been? Hartley? Fine.
I need to see Batley today. Can I ask him to come in?
Well, apparently he's gone to the slaughterhouse, Mum. You're going to charge these two women?
I wish I had something to charge them with.
Criminal damage.
The paint came off with a damp cloth. On second thoughts, ring Batley at the abattoir.
Before I say another word to you, young woman, I want to know how you found out about my car.
I'm a newspaper woman. I have contacts in all the local garages who give me tips about any unusual accidents.
You chase hearses for a living, is that it?
There are worse ways of earning a crust.
Huh. Like disemboweling dead people and little furry animals, I suppose.
You said it, not me.
This country worries more about animals than people.
It's curious, though, is it not?
What is?
The only poison penlet you've ever had is from someone who objects to you cutting up mice.
Yes. It crossed my mind.
I'd have said that was very odd. Wouldn't you?
Animals have rights too.
What rights do they have? Animals?
The right to live their lives free from pain. The right to die of old age. The right to be taken into consideration.
And people? Do people have rights?
Yes.
People like Batley the butcher, for instance. Does he have the right to live in peace? To earn a living, as he's done and his father before him, for 30 years in this town?
He had no right to hit my sister with a cleaver. Look, it doesn't matter to me what you think of how I feel about animals and vegetarian diets and whole food philosophy. What does matter is that you take seriously, an attempt by a lunatic to kill my sister. Are you going to do that?
Hartley? What? Constable Parks? Yeah, all right then. Would you take some holiday snaps over to DHQ?
Oh, I shall fill my farm in Cattralls Road.
Ready in the morning.
Terrific.
Is Mr. Stone gone?
Yes, Mom, yes.
You don't know a Mr. Reuben Stone, I suppose. All right. I shall want to see you both again, and I shall also be talking to Mr. Batley.
Yes, of course.
There are many things about this business that don't satisfy me. If it did hit you, he will be dealt with by the law. And the law will also want to take a closer look at your activities.
Yes, I expect it will.
Okay. You can both go home. For now.
But you will be back tomorrow evening.
I may have to stay over. You never can tell. I'll call you. Now, take care. And if you're at all worried, just call the police, all right?
999.
No, you better call Kate Longton direct. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. William, there isn't anything to worry about, is there?
No. No.
What's up?
Ah, Mr. Batley.
Yeah, aye, but what's up? Has there been an accident or what?
Sorry?
Yeah, I had a message at the abattoir to get over here.
Yeah, just have a seat for a minute, Mr. Batley.
Yeah, but what's up?
Yeah, Mr. Batley.
But will somebody tell me what is going on here?
Okay.
Oh, no. You've not dragged me over here, have you, to talk about them two silly little lasses?
Just have a seat for a minute, Mr. Buckley, and wait for long. We'll be along in a minute.
Look, I've already talked to him and to Joe Beck, and I've switched me all week round so as I could come here tomorrow. What do you think I were doing at Slaughterhouse today? And I've told Joe Beck that I don't want to press charges.
Come in, please, Mr. Butler.
Mind yourself, Danny.
Oh, pardon me.
Hey, you've written up what Batley told you the first time, right?
Yes, Sarge.
Pocketbook.
Why don't you want to press charges, Mr. Batley?
Oh, I don't have to, do I?
No?
So what difference does it make?
These girls have made a serious accusation against you.
And if you don't press charges against them, it might look as though you had something to hide.
I'm getting backed into a corner here. I don't want charges pressing because I've no time to be going to court, have I? Look, I'm a one-man business, me. One man and his dog. Only the dog died. Now, how can I take time off going to court hanging about, eh? Oh, it's all right for you. It's your job. If I have a day off, folk will get their meat elsewhere. And a customer lost these days doesn't come back so quick. Till they want credit.
Tell us what happened, Mr. Batley.
Do you think they're just going to take your word for it? They'll talk to the butcher. They'll look for other witnesses. How did you think you were going to get away with it?
It's the truth. Only you won't print it.
Newspapers print the truth that people want to believe.
Wonderful.
And don't get pious with me. If you want to be believed, you can start out by telling the truth yourselves. For God's sake, if I can find out you're all in cahoots, do you think Kate Lambton won't?
That man hit me.
Did he?
Yes.
Well, I think you've blown your chances of being believed. You'd have done a lot better flashing your thighs and holding a pretty little bunny rabbit. And you'd have got a lot more publicity. And as for smashing up Cattrall's car, where on earth did you think that was going to get you?
Who's Cattrall?
Thank you, Mr. Batley.
Well, what happens now?
Well, these circumstances will be reported, and he may be prosecuted for assault occasioning actual bodily harm.
Well, good night, then.
Good night, Mr. Batley.
Good night.
I didn't do it, you know. I didn't touch him.
Yeah, I will. Ta-da! Morning, Arthur.
Morning, Sarge.
Now then, Joseph, don't tell me you're still riding this same desk.
Stuff me.
Pass.
Malachi Jones. Large as life and twice as horrible. What's brought you sniffing round here?
Nay, Joseph, it's you sniffing round us.
Got Mr. Perrin, have you? Been asking questions about a client of mine?
Bembo?
Aye, Bembo. What's she supposed to have done now?
If you slip back about 2, you'll catch the boss in. What's he like, Bembo?
Creepy little swine, but a perfect gentleman with it. Never put a foot wrong. Even when his missus topped herself.
Did what?
Well, when he were banged up, his wife couldn't face a disgrace. She hanged herself. They let him out for the inquest. He thanked everyone in sight. He thanked the guy who did the post-mortem, even.
There's not so queer as folk.
Mr. Butler? Mr. Butler?
Hey, who are you?
I'm doing an article for the local newspaper. I just wondered how you felt about the possibility of being prosecuted for protecting your own property. But it is a possibility.
Go away.
Sorry?
Just go!
Messages.
Benbow's parole officer came in. Malachi Jones. He's an old mucker of mine and George's.
And?
He's popping back to see you, ma'am. And John Batley has asked me to call and see him on the way home.
Ah. He knows he might be prosecuted. Well, you may as well pop round and see him now, Joe.
Oh, right. Good. Thank you. When Malachi Jones comes back, buzz Inspector Longton straight away. Don't keep him hanging about.
Molly. Would you sit down for a minute, please, miss? Thank you.
What do you mean? The three of them. Reuben Stone and the Outen sisters are all part of the same bunch of animal rights lunatics. They've been ducking around towns in the north for months, slashing tyres, painting shop windows, you name it.
How do you know this?
Mate of mine on one of the Sundays is doing an in-depth expose, you know? He gave me a few names, and lo and behold, I've just been round to the place where they all live. You know what, though?
What?
They swore blind to me that Batley cut that girl.
Really?
And to tell you the truth, I don't think he's all that stable myself. Something's really itching at him, you know? God knows what.
Ask Joe Beck not to go round to Batley's just yet. Ah. No, doesn't matter.
It's not half day today, is it?
Half day's any chance you get these days. With supermarkets opening all hours, God sends.
What can I do for you?
You can tell me, Joseph, what is going on. I'm going to get prosecuted, am I not?
You look as though you lost £1 and found a shilling.
Third phone call, they can't get the money in. Or they're playing silly beggars.
Now then, George.
Good God. Dick Tracy. How are you doing, Malachi?
Doing everyone, making sure no one does me. You?
Oh, making a crust, Malachi. Hoping for jam.
Boss free?
No. She won't be long, though.
You'd sooner take word of these socialists than someone you've known all your life. Yeah, I don't believe it, me.
Well, it's not up to me, but where do you think you're going?
Someone's going to listen, Joseph.
I'll come back when you've had time to think about it.
What do you think I'm going to do? Cut your throat?
Well, thanks for that.
Wouldn't have made 2 column inches anyway. Bye-bye.
Bye. Is Joe Beck still at Bartlett's?
I'm not sure.
See if he is, would you? We may have to rethink this whole business. Those 2 women and Reuben Stone are all animal livers.
Malachi. This is Mr. Malachi Jones, Benbow's probation officer.
Oh, good. Come through, will you?
Kate, Inspector,
Doctor, what is it?
have you got someone watching my house?
George?
Made regular visits, nothing reported.
I've been trying to ring my wife. There's been no reply. I know you.
Hello, Dr. Catchell. Could I have a word, Inspector, now?
Sarge, Danny on the blower.
What's happening? What's the matter?
It is important, Inspector.
All right, let's hear it, Mr. Jones.
Dr. Catchell was a pathologist who gave evidence when Benbow's wife killed herself.
Mom.
Just a minute.
Danny.
Yes, Danny?
I've picked up those photographs, Mom. They're all of Mrs. Catchell and her daughter. Some taken through the bedroom window at night.
Thanks, Danny. Get all the cards we've got round to Catchell's house and look for Benbow.
You lot, you jump to wrong conclusions.
What happens to Chop if I get done for looking after what's my own, eh? If I go to court, I have to shut. And where does trade go? Supermarket colours it. Oh, another small trader goes to the wall.
Common folk like you and me, what do we get?
Short shrift.
If I took a lump out of a bobby with a sharp knife, somebody might just listen. Just once.
Put the knife down, John.
Eh?
You're not Robin Hood and I'm not the Sheriff of Nottingham. Put it down. If you've got a problem, let's talk it out.
Aye.
Some 499 to Hartley.
Yes, Brian.
I'm approaching Dr. Cuttrell's. He's in there.
No! Don't hit me! Don't hit me!
I'm sorry about that knife business.
No one will hear it from me.
I did hit that lass. She were lucky I never took her head off. I'd not have minded where things were. The wife's not been too grand, but I've told you. She had like, something that had to be cut off, burnt away.
Yes.
They have it like, so it'll not come back.
Oh, good. That's good news.
Only they've said, maybe if she eats no more meat, it might be a good thing. I've no better. I couldn't cope with thought that I'd caused what she had. Them two lasses were at wrong place at wrong time.
We'll sort it. Mind the desk, Arthur.
Forward side.
What'll happen?
We'll sort it.
I'll not go to jail, will I?
One step at a time, John.
Who'll look after the missus?
You tied them up and frightened them quite deliberately.
Fear cleanses.
How did you know Mr. Cattrall was away?
I know everything. I know about you, too. And I know about her. I know everything.
I'm sorry about your wife, Mr. Benbow.
Oh? Really?
I'm sorry she felt she had to kill herself.
She didn't kill herself. Why would she kill herself? She knew I didn't do anything. She told me not to worry. She was waiting for me. It's just a story they put out. They waited till she went to sleep because they knew that she had evidence which proved I wasn't guilty. All those women had written to her saying they'd asked me to do it. And when she was asleep, they sent Cattrall round to cut her up. He was proud of it. He stood up in court and told everyone what he'd done. So, I had to make him frightened. Because when he was frightened, then he'd know. Now he knows. He knows!
Next on Drama, we catch up with London's finest police. The good folk of Sun Hill are on the beat. In the bill.
thought you said it would be crowded.
It was last time I came.
How many years ago was that?
Come on, you're gonna love it.
Yes, well, of course, if you've got a petition, Mr. Naylor, of course that helps. It all depends how many names you've got on it.
15, that's enough, isn't it? And I could have had more. Only half of them were out when I went round. It's unbearable, it really is.
How many flats are there? I see, well, that's not even half. I mean, if the disturbance was that bad, I would have thought you could have done a bit better than that. Yes, I know you said that. Yes, of course, Mr. Naylor. Yes, I'll see what I can do. Bye.
What's he going on about the disco again?
So you've had him too?
Went round just a few days ago.
Did you hear the noise?
I hardly noticed it, not over him talking. Mind you, you'd need Concord taking off in the next street to drown that.
Let's get this finished. If I'm not off in 5 minutes, there'll be hell to pay. What's that loot for?
Nothing.
Come on, out with it.
I was just thinking, that's how married folk talk. Husbands, usually, in my experience, always rushing off home in case the dinner gets cold.
It's called consideration, Joe.
£2? Whatever happened to the 1 and 9s?
Children are half price.
I used to come here Saturday mornings. 6p. In a minute, Gary. I thought I'd come to you last night, bring back a few memories.
I hope you enjoy it, sir.
So, why are you closing? Redevelopment, is it?
Don't ask me, no one tells me anything.
Shame.
Dad!
I said, in a minute. You understand what that means? In a minute.
Everyone's sitting in front of their boxes playing Space Invaders. Watching Gone with the Wind on a 20-inch screen.
Terrible.
I've been here 14 years, you know. I've seen every picture. Well, almost.
Dad, I want to get the lamp. Where's the lamp?
Some of them twice. I saw Gone with the Wind 4 times when they re-released it. I get them free, of course.
Yeah, of course. It's over there. Can't you read? What do you go to school for if they don't teach you to read?
Well, that was very nice.
Better than salt beef sandwiches and tin tomato soup.
Lacks the simple charm of your office, but still.
Coffee. Go on, force yourself. Live dangerously.
How much is it?
Ah, well, this one is on me.
John, I'm not having this, I mean it. Why on earth should you pay for me?
What should we do now?
John, I won't come out with you anymore if this is going to happen every time.
Should we go for a little drink? I know a nice place just round the corner.
Thinking?
Well, I'm paying next time. I don't really want another drink. Not after all that wine.
Well, you're not going to ditch me in Hartley in the middle of a Saturday evening, are you?
Actually, there's someone I want to see.
Where?
Won't take long. And you can come as well. How about that?
Great. My idea of a good night out. Trailing round after a copper while she nicks some poor unfortunate...
There'll be none of that, I promise. And this time, I'll buy you a drink, okay?
Oh, well, that's more like it. Come on, let's get going. You're not taking me here, are you?
That's right. Remind you of your lost Jew. Thought you'd like a dance. Make a change from all that table tennis and jogging.
Don't worry, I can dance even on a full stomach. Dance you into the ground any day.
Evening, John.
Oh, hello, Linda.
Been here before, have you?
Oh, yeah. In the course of duty, like.
Oh, yeah.
from the pleasure of my company. You've come to nick a few kids for drinking underage, haven't you?
I've actually got to talk to the manager.
Ah. Hey, I fancy that dance
Oh, there he is. Look, I won't be long, John.
Well, he's not going to run away, is he?
Hello, Lindy. Aren't you down in the centre, abandoned, have you?
Why, aren't you?
Ah, well, I got stood up, didn't I? Fancy a dance?
Suppose so.
Don't get excited about it.
But didn't crack a smile.
Who's complaining now, then?
I'm afraid I can't tell you that.
Oh, look, I'm not going to send a heavy mob in, you know. I'm not going to break their windows or anything. I just thought that if I knew, we might be able to sort this thing out in a civilized manner.
I'll do any sorting out that's needed, Mr. Page.
Sure you will. I'm not trying to do your job for you, Inspector. I just thought that, well, it's daft, isn't it, all this, surely?
Daft it may be, but your club's already extremely unpopular around here.
Oh, it's not my club. I wish it was. It's coining it, is this place. Hand over fist. Wish I could make a few bob out of it.
You're the manager?
Aye, I've got all the responsibility, none of the profit. Sit yourself down.
Thanks.
They sent me here from Manchester, you know. I couldn't work out whether it was promotion or they couldn't bear the sight of me. Anyway, it's work, isn't it? That's the main thing.
Mr. Page?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just makes a change talking to someone over the age of 12.
What are you going to do? About the noise, I mean.
Well, you tell me. I'm open to all suggestions. Now, I've turned it right down. Well, it's not too bad, is it? Now, admit it, it's not, is it?
I've heard worse, but if it annoys your neighbours...
Look, you can't have a discotheque without noise. I mean, I would if I could, believe me, I would. Anything to stop their complaints.
It's not just the noise of the music. We've also had reports of cars, motorbikes revving up 1, 2 in the morning, using this road as a sort of private racetrack.
Look, I'm here all the time. I live above the shop almost. I've not heard anything like that.
Perhaps you haven't.
It's just 1 or 2, isn't it? That's all. If I knew who they were.
Why don't you try and find out? Shouldn't be that difficult. Then perhaps you could stop them.
Just 1 or 2 who are complaining. That's what I mean. From the flats. I'm right, aren't I? Miserable lot. Hiding behind their little front doors, staring through their net curtains, hating them because they're young and enjoying themselves. 2 crimes I can't forgive them for.
Oh, I think you're being a bit harsh.
Oh, I'm not, you know. I was mug enough to move in there. They treat me like a leper or something. I couldn't have them for that. For persistently unneighbourly behaviour. Haven't you got some sort of bylaw I could get them under?
Police? Oh, yeah, everything's fine, Mum. Just 3 drunks and attempt to break in the High Street. Williams' a jeweller's, Mum.
Didn't they get anything then?
No, well, it wasn't what you call highly professional. Just 1 bloke and a brick. He ran off when he heard the alarm. We collared him 5 minutes later down Southfield Street. Said he wasn't trying to break in, just wanted his watch back.
Yes, well, I'm not surprised the prices they charge. Anyway, I'm at home now if you want me, Danny, OK?
Yes, Mum, I'm sure we'll manage, thanks.
No major kidnappings or armed robberies, then?
It's still early yet.
You're not trying to get rid of me, are you?
No? Why?
Because it's nice and cosy sitting here, in the wasteland that was once your sitting room.
Don't. Those kids, they've got a right to enjoy themselves, haven't they?
Yeah.
What's the matter?
Well, it's me night off. I don't want to get into a long discussion about the problems of youth today, Monday morning. Fine.
OK.
Well, what do you want me to say? If they've been creating a disturbance, there's nothing else you can do, is there?
You mean there's only one thing I can do. Stop them.
Yeah. If you ask me, it was daft opening a disco in that road in the first place.
Well, at least you don't think I'm trying to spoil their fun.
Hey, just because I'm a youth leader doesn't mean to say I only like the youth, you know.
Good. I'm glad about that.
I like you for a start. You know that.
Even better?
Why?
Because I like you, too. How about some music?
Oh, Mr. Beck! Could you hang on a minute? You're just the man I wanted to see.
Hello, Mr. Naylor. Look, I'm sorry I can't...
Look, it won't take a minute.
No,
It's
really,
not-
I'm in a terrible rush. Can you talk to somebody at the desk?
I've got some new evidence.
Oh, they'll like that. Make a change from people coming and asking where the post office is.
Not late, are we?
I'm being pursued.
Don't worry, that's what we're here for. To protect the weak and needy. Some figure from your past, is it?
Nothing as easy as that. It's Fred Naylor.
Well, don't leave me here to deal with him.
Morning, Mr. Naylor. What can I do for you?
You can get your finger out for a start. I'm not having any more nights like last night.
Why? What happened last night?
Pandemonium as per usual. Only this time, I've got it on record. That's just what I've been saying.
Where did you record this then? From your window, was it? We're down in the street.
In the street. So what are you going to do about it?
Well, I don't think this tells us very much.
Oh, you don't think so? Well, I say it tells us there's a hell of a lot of noise going on.
It tells us there was some noise, but how much? Well, look, the volume's turned right up.
Well, of course it is. They were making a lot of noise.
What I'm saying is that for all I know, you could have recorded this when this was turned right down low and then turned it right
Now,
up.
look, I've had you lot round at my place drinking my tea, hearing it for yourself. I've even drummed up a petition. I was just telling your lady inspector last night. Here you are, look. Take a look for yourself.
15 signatures, that's not a lot.
Oh, not again. You're just not interested. That's the whole top and bottom
Well,
of
of
it.
course
You
we-
think I'm just an interfering old busybody.
We have been round, Mr. Naylor. Sergeant Beck spoke to the manager only a few days ago, and we understood the volume was considerably less now.
Well, it's not. Not as far as I'm concerned.
Well, then we'll just have to send someone else round, won't we?
What's this?
It says on the packet.
Yeah, but where's the rest of it?
What do you mean, rest of it?
Well, you won't do more than half a wall with that, will you?
Oh, no. Are you sure?
Yeah, sure. It's all right, I got a good idea. Let's leave this lot till next weekend. Yeah? Don't want to do half a wall, do we? Then, you and I could spend the whole of today.
Hold on, Holland. What's all this about next weekend? I'm not sure about all this planning ahead, you know. It makes me twitchy.
You know why, don't you? You've been living too long on your own. You've become a boring old spinster.
Don't be rude.
Well, it's true. But I've come along just in the nick of time to save you from yourself.
Anyway, I'm working next weekend.
Not only are you a boring old spinster, you're a workaholic too.
Where did I put my coat? Oh. And I've got a good idea.
Oh?
Why don't you get started on this lot, and I'll go and get the paste.
moment. What is it?
I don't know what he's talking about, do you, Geoffrey?
I'm talking to you. That's fair enough, isn't it? As you were evidently talking about me.
Don't know what he means, do you?
Look, I'm trying very hard to be reasonable. Now, if we could just be sensible human beings and talk, don't you think that would be a good idea?
You know, the trouble with these flats is they're going right downhill ever since they've started letting riffraff in.
You heard that, didn't you? Hey? Go on. Didn't you? Now, am I being unreasonable or not? Oh, it's a waste of time, isn't it? I'm just wasting my breath. You don't want to know, won't even listen.
That's because we're deafened by all the noise you make in there.
I'm just doing my job, believe me. I
That's
can't.
just what the Nazis said. I'm just doing my job.
I see.
But we beat them, and we'll beat you. Don't you worry.
So you want war, do you? Right.
Right.
I'm not surprised the place is closed down. Should have been closed down years ago.
You didn't bring back fond childhood memories, then?
Well, I don't reckon they'd changed the seats since I was a kid, if that's what you mean. And I doubt if the place has been cleaned more than twice since then. See you, Sarge.
Morning, Bran.
Well,
Surviving without me.
it's touch and go, Mum.
I was just passing, so I thought I'd check up.
Well, there is one thing, if you're feeling strong.
Mm.
Mr. Naylor came in.
And?
Said he'd spoken to you last night.
That's right.
He brought this in. And the so-called recording of the noise. Could have been recorded straight off the radio, as far as I could tell.
Get it sorted out, George, will you? Knock on a few doors. Not the people on this list. See how bad the others reckon it is.
Right on.
Oh, and if you see Mr. Naylor again, tell him I popped round last night.
To the discotheque?
That's right. It seemed to me the manager was doing all he could to keep the noise down. Not that I'm trying to prejudice you in any way.
Well, of course not, Mum. I mean, you're not really here, are you?
Quite right. I'm at home with the decorating. You know, I love decorating.
Oh, I'm the same. Can't think of a better way to spend a Sunday.
Oh, Mr. Page. What a coincidence. I was hoping I might bump into you.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
Another fuse needs replacing, does it?
No, I don't only call on you when I need something. No, I couldn't help noticing what was going on out there.
So.
I just wanted to say, I hope you don't think I'm one of the people who's been making life difficult for you, because nothing could be further from the truth.
Thank you.
It's not my sort of music, of course, but, well, we've all got to live and let live, haven't we?
It's very kind of you.
I know what they can be like, you see. All the time I've been here, even when my husband died, no one's made the slightest effort to be friendly. Sometimes I don't talk to a soul on the old block. For weeks at a time.
Well, I don't think you're missing much personally. Now, if you don't mind.
Oh, I was wondering, Mr. Pate, but perhaps you'd like to come in for a drink.
Pardon?
A sherry or something. Just to show there's no hard feelings.
Hard feelings? Why should there be? There's none on my part, I can assure you.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm very busy. I'm sorry.
Oh, just a quick drink before lunch.
Look, I'm sorry. I haven't got time, if you don't mind. I haven't got time for that sort of thing. I'm very busy. Excuse me.
Excuse me, did you sign this, sir?
Why, I should say so.
Could I have your name, please? Just checking a few things out.
MacDonald. Geoffrey MacDonald. Here. You too.
Oh, aye. Thanks very much.
Anything I can do to help?
Oh, no, I don't think that.
See, my son was in the police force. Plain clothes.
Really? Well, must be getting along.
Early in the morning, till it's dark, I can see your sweet, sweet smile every day.
Sorry I've been such an age.
That's all right.
Something cropped up at the station.
Ah, yeah. Since when do you buy wallpaper paste at a police station? You did get it, didn't you?
Of course I did. You know, you have to fight to get into that place on a Sunday morning. It's the country's new religion, DIY. How about an early lunch?
Ah, Sunday lunch, eh? Well, I'm all for Sunday lunch.
I got something while I was out.
What? That's Sunday lunch.
Well, it's lunch and it's Sunday.
What does it two turn into roast beef and 3 veg when you drop it in a pan?
Take it or leave it.
All right. So long as you promise not to pop down to the station in the middle
promise.
of it. And I mean it.
Well, thanks very much. It's been very helpful, Mrs. Jackson.
Not at all. Mind you, we are heavy sleepers, my husband and I. There is that.
Yeah, I've got that, right.
I wouldn't want you to think I was calling anyone a liar, that's all, especially not a neighbour.
Oh, no, I'm sure nobody's lying. It's just that some people are more affected by noise than others. Well, you go back to your dinner, Mrs. Jackson. I wouldn't want your sprouts going soft on my account.
Oh, the state my Albert's in when he gets back from the pub, it wouldn't make any difference if it turned to soup.
Please help me.
What is it?
Someone, a man.
What, in there?
Yes, but
What, is he still there?
no, I got rid of him.
Yeah, well, come on, come in and tell me about it. All right, you sit down, love, and I'll get you a cup of tea.
I don't want one. I don't want to stay here. I can't.
Well, just sit down for a few minutes and tell me what happened.
I hate this place now. It's filthy. He's made it filthy.
Who was he? Did you know him?
I'm not saying anything till you get me out of here.
Yeah, I will in a couple of minutes. You say you got rid of him. How did you do that?
The glass.
Well, you threatened him with it.
I said if he didn't leave me alone, he'd get it. I'd have done it too.
See. Is there anyone you want to ring? Tell them where you'll be.
I don't have anyone. No one at all. Not since my husband died.
Oh, how long ago was that?
6 months. Since then, there's been just me. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I don't talk to a soul, not for weeks.
This man, you opened the door to him, did you? Or did he break in?
I just want to get out of here. That's not unreasonable, is it? Surely.
No, of course not.
Kate Longton. Oh, hello, Joe. No, of course you're not interrupting anything. Go on.
George has brought a lady and man from the flats in Bury Road. He seems to think to be a help if you were here.
Look, if you think I'm disturbing my Sunday because of more complaints about that discotheque.
It's a bit more serious than that, Mum. She's claiming she's been attacked.
By the kids?
By her neighbour, Mr. Page.
The manager?
That's right, Mum. That's what she says.
Right. I'll be there in 5 minutes. No, 10. 10 minutes. And Joe, send someone round to talk to Mr. Page, see what he has to say for himself. Thanks. I'll try not to be too long. That's the best I can do.
I know, yeah.
What are you going to do?
I'll tell you what I should do. I should get off home and let you get on with it. That's what I should do if I had a grain of sense, if I wasn't so kind and soft-hearted. But I suppose what I will do is get on with your bloody wallpaper.
So, Why did you ask him in, Mrs. Clark?
Well, you see, he's been making my life hell for months. Ever since he moved in. Bothering me. Never leaving me alone. It was terrible.
That wasn't exactly a reason to ask him in, though.
It was stupid of me, but I took pity on him. He used to come and ask me if there was any little jobs needed doing. That's what he came for this morning. He looks so sad standing there, so I asked him if he'd like a drink.
I see.
And then he seemed to take that as a sign or something, that I was encouraging him.
And you weren't?
Of course I wasn't. What do you think I am?
Oh, I don't think anything, Mrs. Clark. I just meant it'd be perfectly understandable if you had been.
Not to me, it wouldn't. It'd be inexcusable. Terrible.
Two people on their own, that's all I meant. It's perfectly natural, I'd have thought.
No, it isn't. Oh, you don't understand. It wouldn't be possible. It wouldn't be possible at all.
Why not?
Because it'd be betraying the memory of my husband, that's why. I couldn't do that. We had a perfect marriage, you see. Never a crossword, not in 16 years. We used to say it was made in heaven. Do you believe in that sort of thing?
Sergeant?
Excuse me. Sorry to drag you in, but there's something I'm not happy about.
You want me to talk to her?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind. I thought she was making the whole thing up at first, but I'm not sure now. There's something I can't put my finger on.
Is there anything I should know, George? Anything in particular?
Well, her husband died 6 months ago. She was just saying it was the perfect marriage.
Don't curl your lip when you say that.
Ah, well,
So you think she still might be suffering from shock? Is that it?
no, just loneliness. I don't know.
Or she might be telling the complete truth. Thanks, George.
Mr. Page!
Oh, another one. Where's your friend gone? Such a nice man.
I'm looking for Mr. Page. Have you seen him?
Mr. Page? Oh, well, I wouldn't ask him about the discotheque if I were you. He's biased.
Do you have any idea where he might be?
I should try across the road, in the discotheque. If he's not there, he'd likely be round the anchor. He often business Sunday.
Thank you.
And if he's there with a short, fat, balding man, will you tell him his dinner was ready an hour ago, and it'll be cooked to a frazzle by now? Not that he'd notice. Drunken sot.
Then after he'd had a couple of sherries, he started to turn nasty. I tried to ignore it at first, but it didn't seem to make any difference. Well, you know what men are like. Little jokes at first, and then touching me like it was all some little game. Suddenly it stopped being funny.
You told him to go?
He said I was teasing him. I really wanted him there. The more I said go, the more he laughed. He won't believe I meant it.
She said that? You're joking.
You mind telling me where you were between 11:30 and 12:30 this morning?
Well, I was on the road outside replacing the light bulbs for this rotten place. Oh, and trying to reason with what I laughingly call my neighbours. Like trying to have a calm, rational chat with Adolf Hitler.
You'll be able to give me the names then?
What? Oh, I see, witnesses? Oh, yeah, I can do that all right, then.
So what do you do after that?
It's amazing, isn't it? After all I've had to put up with without some daft old biddy. What is it about me? Don't I like me face?
If you wouldn't mind answering.
Oh, what was I doing? Yeah. Well, I came back to the flat. Was dying for a leak. Only I bumped into her on the landing. I say bumped. I think she was waiting, you know, lying in wake. You know, she does that. So. Anyway, she asked me to have a drink with her.
She asked you that?
Right, that's right, yeah. She asked me for a drink.
What did you say?
I said no.
Did you go in?
No. That's what I'm saying. I certainly didn't.
Why not?
Why not? She's not my type. No, it's, well, she's a bit odd, isn't she? I mean, I don't like to say it, but she is. I mean, she's quite harmless. At least I thought she was. That's the Jacksons. They'll tell you. They've had to put up with it longer than I have.
Oh, she's not odd. She's batty. She's well known for it.
How do you mean?
Well, that music of hers for a start. She has it going at 2 in the morning. Honest, it comes banging through our ceiling. Old film music, mainly. It's twice as bad as the row he makes over road.
And that makes her mad, does it? Is that what you're saying?
No. I mean, it's understandable in a way, of course it is. It'd drive me mad. I go on about Albert, heaven knows he's bad enough, but it's not natural, is it? Living on your own all those years.
I thought she had a husband.
Sure.
Well, that's right, isn't it? He died a few months back, that's what she told us.
First I've heard of it. Maybe she did once upon a time, but I've never seen sight or sign of any husband. Goodness, she's been here 4 or 5 years now, and I swear there's been no one else there. Look, I'm not daft, and all there hasn't.
No, of course no one saw him. He was ill. For a long time.
You mean he never went out?
No, he was in hospital. I used to visit him every day. Every night as well. He was in there for years.
Can you give me the name of the hospital?
I don't remember. I'm terrible on names. Anyway, I don't see what...
Was it the cottage or the county general?
I don't remember. No, it wasn't either of those. It wasn't local. It was a long way away. He needed specialized treatment, you see.
It was a long way away, and even so you managed to visit him twice a day. How did you do that?
Because I loved him. That's why. When you love someone, you do these things, don't you? Anyway, I don't see what my husband has to do with it. I've been attacked. I'm very upset, and all you're doing is upsetting me even more.
That's not my intention.
Well, it's what you're doing, isn't it?
Look, I think it would be a good idea if we went back to your flat, Mrs. Clark.
Why?
Then you could find me the address of the hospitals.
I don't want to go back there, not after what's happened. He might be there.
Look, there's really nothing to worry about. You're quite safe with me. Please.
I don't know where it is.
Do you have your husband's death certificate?
Of course I do. Somewhere. I can't think straight. It's useless, not with you here. Why don't you come back tomorrow? I'll be better by then. I'm sure I can find it by then.
I'd like to see a photograph of your husband. Do you think I could?
Why? I don't understand all this.
You do have one.
Well, of course I have one. I've got books full of them.
It's just I don't see one anywhere.
Oh, I see. No, well, I used to keep them in here. On the mantelpiece. But it was too upsetting. I kept reminding me.
Hmm.
So I keep them in the bedroom now.
Would you mind if I...
No. If you don't mind. I haven't made the bed yet. You know what it's like, or perhaps you don't, but you get into such terrible sloppy habits living on your own. I'll go get one.
May I see it? Very nice. He's a very good-looking man.
Oh, he is, isn't he? That was taken a few years ago, of course. He looked better then. The last year or two, he started to lose his looks. It was very sad.
I see. You know, you're a very lucky woman, Mrs. Clark.
Well, at least I've had 16 years with him. That's true. You can't take that away, can they?
They certainly can't.
I'm glad I showed it to you. I didn't want to. But I'm glad I did now.
It's good to get these things off your chest.
Pardon?
Share them.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. You're right.
I wonder, perhaps I could help you.
Help me?
Well, all you've had to put up with recently. You know, the death of your husband and now this attack
and losing my job.
And losing a job, yes. I mean, they're major shocks. Perhaps it would be good to see a doctor. What do you think?
Do you know a good doctor?
Oh, yes.
My doctor's terrible.
I'm sure I could find you one.
Pills, pills, pills. That's all he knows. They just make me go muzzy.
Look, if you come back to the station with me, you wouldn't mind that, would you?
No, of course not. I feel much better already. Oh, you have been kind.
Come along, then.
So nice to talk to somebody sympathetic.
So, she's withdrawn the allegation, has she? Great. Sorry I can't join in the celebrations.
Is this a holiday or what?
Not a holiday, no.
A bit sudden, isn't it?
I've come to the conclusion that I don't like your little town. I don't like its bigotry or its small-mindedness.
You come from Manchester, don't you?
Yeah, I can't wait to get back there. But at least I'm lucky. At least I can get out, unlike some.
Like who?
Ah, poor cow. She may be balmy, all right, but who thought who did that to her?
Ah, Mr. Page, Sergeant. Trying to get away, was he? I'd see you've got your man all right. I wouldn't bother to look any further.
Hey, just a minute, what's this?
It's a copy of a letter we've sent to the local paper.
Oh, and who's we?
The Residents Association, newly founded.
It says the manager of the Americano Disco Club is being questioned by Hartley police about an attack on one of Hartley Court's female residents.
And this has been sent to the local paper, is it?
It only says alleged attack.
And now they want you to close it down on account of the dreadful goings-on. Be useful with this. Thanks.
Useful?
For when I sue.
Oh, no, that's why we said alleged attack. You can't touch me on that one.
I think there's something you ought to know, Mr. Naylor. Mrs. Clark has already admitted she made the whole thing up.
She what? No, she couldn't have.
Couldn't she just? Well, I'm glad you were here as a witness, Sergeant. What would you say it was? Defamation of character? At least it'll be useful when it comes to court.
You call this wallpapering?
You are? Yeah, well, I mean, you know... How was it?
Oh, fine.
What's the matter?
Am I really a boring old spinster?
What?
Don't laugh. Do you think that's why women get married? So they won't be called spinster anymore?
I mean, it's okay being a bachelor, isn't it? Sounds great. Fast sports cars, parties every night.
Yeah, that's me. Fast sports cars and all except bedtime.
You know what I mean. I mean spinsters. Sad old ladies in bedsits. Terrible word.
Don't worry. I'll come and push you around in your bath chair.
Is that the best I can hope for?
Yeah.
Maybe I better keep you on after all, then.
Next on Drama, we catch up with London's finest police. The good folk of Sun Hill are on the beat. In the bill.
You'll only have an hour and a half to complete the paper. But there's no reason to go mad. Just study it carefully. Choose the questions you think you can answer best. And for heaven's sake, work out a paragraph plan before you begin. Yes, I do realize I'm in a minority in still believing in paragraphs, punctuation, or even in trying to make your writing legible. But as one who's suffered O-level marking for many years, I can assure you that anything you do to make the marker's life easier will be more than amply rewarded. And good luck, Andrew.
Just got to go to the loo first, sir.
Well, hurry.
Hartley 3199. Oh, hello, darling. Yes, I'm fine. When are you going to be... But you said tonight. No, it wasn't important. No, well, if you could just... Right. Well, you do that then, fine. Bye. Oh, Mr. Beasley, I'm sorry. I thought that was my husband. Andrew hasn't what? Well, where is he then? No, he's not here. Oh, yes, I'm positive. Oh, where on earth can he be? Oh, yes, of course, it's quite unforgivable. Yes, I'll give him a ticking off when he comes in. Right, Mr. Beasley, thank you. Goodbye.
Had fun? Oh, I doubt it.
George,
Well,
I can't find your report on the application.
oh,
What application's that, then?
some fellow wants to join the police force.
Masochist or something, is he?
Gonna have it then?
I haven't done the home visit yet. I forgot all about it.
Can't it wait till morning?
No, it can't. This chap's got an interview tomorrow.
You do realise what you're asking, man? I mean, it's Philip's birthday today, his youngest.
Leave off.
I'm just trying to explain your dilemma, George. You see, if he doesn't get home in time to take Philip to the pictures...
What'll he do? Sprinkle broken glass in your cornflakes or something? Who is the boss in your house, George?
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Good, I'm glad to hear it.
It's the missus.
That's his dilemma, in a nutshell.
You give her a ring, eh?
Why me?
Because I'm a coward. Because I made a botch of it. Anyway, for some reason, she likes you.
Oh, she does she?
Aye. She's always had this thing about older men.
Partly Police, what can I do for you? Uh-huh. And that was how long ago? Well, if there's only a couple of hours, Mrs. Patterson, No, I'd say that's no time at all. No accidents reported, no. Of course, we'll do all we can. Uh-huh. Now, if you just give me your address.
Very kind of you to come so quickly.
Not kind at all, Mrs. Patterson. I'm just doing my job. He hasn't turned up then.
No.
Thank you. What exactly was he stopping behind at school for?
Revision, that's all. Just some last-minute revision. We'd arranged some special lessons with one of his teachers, Mr. Beasley. They're just starting their O-levels.
Must be a worrying time.
Yes, it is. My husband and I have had sleepless nights.
For the boy.
Well, yes, of course, for him too.
It's maybe why he hasn't come home yet. Happen he just wanted to let off a bit of steam beforehand.
Oh, I hope so.
Had he been working hard?
Well, yes, of course. He's a very conscientious boy. He knew it was important that he should do well. He's never been much of a one for letting off steam, though.
Got to let it off sometime.
Well, yes, but at least he could have let me know. I mean, he could have phoned me. He always tells me what he's doing and where he's going. As you see, I've prepared a special treat for tonight.
Very nice. Who's had a bite out of it, then? The mice?
Oh, no, that's my daughter, Alison. She's not in, I'm afraid. She's gone to a disco. She's a good girl, but she's a bit of a difficult age, 13. She doesn't know anything, I assure you, anything that will be any help.
What about your husband?
Well, he's away in London at the moment. I haven't told him yet. I was going to phone him at his hotel, but then I thought perhaps I'd better not bother him.
Wouldn't he want to be bothered?
Well, as you say, it may be nothing. And he'd be worried. I mean, he'd be worried sick and...
Very considerate of you, then.
My husband has a very demanding job. He's the export manager at Haddon Computers. He's done very well.
I can see.
Would you like to sit down?
Thank you. You don't think the lad might have nipped down to London to see his dad before the exams might be missing him?
No, not Andrew. He's far too sensible.
People do funny things when they're under strain.
But he's not under strain. I keep telling you, he's just been working hard.
But he
that's all.
does know where your husband stays.
Well, yes. No. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. This makes it sound as if my husband never sees them. I mean, he may be away on business a lot, but he cares about his children deeply. I mean, especially about Andrew. I suppose because Andrew's a boy. I don't see that any of this is any help.
Who knows, ma'am? Must be a reason why he's disappeared. I'm just trying
Yes,
to
of
find...
course there must, and somebody might have taken him. I mean, you hear such awful things these days.
There's no problems at home.
No more than any other home. We've always done our best for them. I don't know, you're making me feel as if I've committed some sort of crime. We have a few problems. I mean, that's what family life's about, isn't it? You must have heard that people don't just live happily ever after.
Yes, ma'am, I did have my suspicions. Are there any favourite places he might go to?
Not that I can think of, no. He's not like Alison.
What about close friends?
Not really, he hasn't got many. He's always been very self-sufficient. He actually likes being on his own.
I know the feeling. I'd like to have a quick look around the house, if that's all right. If you could show me where his bedroom is to start with. And, I'd like a recent photograph and a description of what he was wearing. And if you could check if there's any clothing missing. And then we'll have everybody out in no time looking for him.
Well, that's all I wanted to hear. Thank you. It's this way.
Bright boy, though. Have to admit it. One of the few. This is his desk. Caring parents, too. Quite a nice lad, in fact.
Popular with his stuff, then, I bet.
Well, not unpopular. But not as popular as he might have been.
Why was that?
Because he was lazy, rested on his laurels. He could have been brilliant, but he's never really bothered. Well, not that he's bone idle, not exactly. Just used to coast along, no application, you see.
That why you gave him extra tuition?
Because I was asked, that's why. And because his parents are nice people, I got to know them well. I was his form master last year. They were always popping in. His father was very worried by his reports. He should have sailed through his O-levels, but he'd just not done the work.
Looks all very neat and tidy.
Well, I don't accept shoddy work, unlike some. And just look at that.
Oh, aye. Dreadful.
You know, they call this a grammar type comprehensive. We're meant to get the cream here. The rest go down the road to Ridgefield, God help them.
Aye. My 3 go there.
Oh, well, there are exceptions, of course. I'm sure.
I wouldn't call them exceptions. Dead ordinary they are.
I wouldn't send my kids here, I tell you that. I mean, if I had any. A really good school this used to be, but it's all gone downhill the last 10 years. People blame the government, cutbacks and comprehensivization. I'll tell you who I blame. The parents, for putting up with it, accepting second best.
Anyway, Mr. Beasley...
That's where Andrew's parents were so different. The sort of people I could understand. Questioned everything. You've met Mr. Skinner, the headmaster?
Aye.
I well remember Andrew's father buttonholing him last Parents' Day, in front of everybody. Wanted to know why his son couldn't take Latin.
I see. Then why couldn't he?
Because we don't teach Latin in this school anymore, that's why.
Oh, well, you can't argue with that, can you? Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to...
Why not?
What?
I would. I have done the last 5 years since they did away with it.
Still, it's not exactly a vital part of day-to-day living, is it? I mean, I seem to manage without it, somehow.
I was head of Latin in the old school.
If you could give me a list of the lads in Andrew's class, Mr. Beasley. Got a very busy day. And their addresses, of course.
You'll have to ask the school secretary. I'll show you where her office is. Walk! Bates, don't run.
I can hardly believe it. Nearly 24 hours and you still have absolutely no idea what's happened to him.
We're doing all we can, Mr. Patterson. And 24 hours is really not a very long time.
We're doing all we can. The usual put-down. Do you know what would happen if I said that to my customers? Do you know what they do? They take their orders elsewhere. That's what they do, and quite right, too.
With respect, Mr. Patterson, we are dealing with human beings, not computers. It's quite a different matter. Of course, I appreciate your concern. It must be a difficult time for you and your wife. But all I can do at the moment is carry out routine inquiries and hope that in the meantime someone spots Andrew. We've circulated a full description of him. Do you have any idea where he might go?
Don't you think I'd have told you if I had? I don't begin to understand it unless someone's taken him. What other possible reason could there be?
You don't think he was suffering from strain?
Well, one of your men asked my wife that.
A couple of days before important exams, it's obviously a distinct possibility.
Well, I don't think so. Andrew's a perfectly healthy, normal boy. He's shown no signs of strain on at all.
Would you have noticed if you had?
Sorry?
I don't want to alarm you, Mr. Patterson, but often children don't want to let their parents down. They hide their true feelings, for various reasons. Sometimes because they're scared of showing them, sometimes...
I haven't come here for a lecture on child psychiatry. Clearly, I shan't be believed, whatever I say. If I assure you that Andrew wasn't in the habit of hiding his true feelings from us, then I'm obviously one of those uncaring parents who wouldn't have noticed anyway. But he isn't. All the same, I assure you.
Well, I'm sure he'll turn up soon.
Well, I hope so. He has his first 2 exams tomorrow. History and English literature, his best subjects. Then another one the following day. What a time to choose.
Yes, well, if you do have any thoughts, any ideas...
A young boy on foot. It can't be that difficult to find him. He can't just disappear.
He could be anywhere in the country by now. Did you have any money?
I've been in London for the last 3 days. I have no idea. Ask my wife.
No, what I meant was, has he any savings, anything he could cash?
Well, as a matter of fact, yes. Yes, quite a substantial amount. In an ordinary savings account in the post office. I give him £20 a month, you see. He has to put 10 into his savings account and the rest he can spend. It's to encourage a responsible attitude towards money.
I see. How long have you been doing this?
Oh, several years. Why, you think he might have cashed it?
It's possible. It would help if we knew.
Look, perhaps you could ring my wife. She knows where it's kept. I really must get back to the office.
Of course.
And thank you.
Alison, answer that phone! Turn that off. 199. Yes? Oh. So there's no news then? No. No, I suppose not. Is what? I don't know. I'd have to look. Alison, will you go into the living room? Would you hang on a minute?
Coming! Ah, David, you must be a mind reader. Thanks.
I said turn that off. Alison! Hello? Yes, well, I've had a look and I can't find it. I know he keeps it in here. Oh, it's a sort of box where we keep passports and things like... What? Oh. Yes. Yes, that's still here, but there's no sign of the... But what would he want to take his savings book for? No. No, of course you don't. I'm sorry. Yes, goodbye. Alison, Alison, now, would you just put that away for a minute? You're quite sure that Andrew didn't say anything?
I've told you, not a word.
Yes, I know that's what you said, but that was before I knew he'd taken his savings book. It never occurred to me to look. You would tell me, wouldn't you, darling? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. It's just that I always assumed it was a spur-of-the-moment thing. But if it was planned... calculated. Well, how long? He might have been thinking about it for weeks. That's awful. We were all sitting here. He was...
But I've already checked the railway and the bus station just this morning.
He's got this money, you see, from his post office account. Well, we think he has. I thought he might have used it to get out of the area.
Well, he could just as easy hitch, Mum, and use the money for something else.
Or stay put. He could do anything. It's daft. It's beginning to irritate me. We're not getting anywhere at all.
Well, how much money was it, Mum?
That's what you can find out, David. Check all the post offices in Hartley first thing in the morning. Start with the ones nearest the school. Have a ride round on your bicycle.
I could just as easy telephone.
Get your face known. Stop hiding behind that desk. Do you the world of good. Bit of exercise now. Stop you dropping dead when you're Chief Constable.
Yes, ma'am.
So what did you do today, Alison?
She went to school.
I know that. I'd like her to tell me herself. Alison.
I went to school.
And what did you do at school?
Alison, please.
It's all right, darling. I realize it takes Alison a long time to muster her thoughts. What did you do at school, Alison? You know I like to keep up with what you're doing.
We had lessons.
Really, and what lessons?
Oh, you know.
No, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
English, maths, French.
Really, and how's the French coming along? Still having trouble with the regular verbs?
No.
Good, so we're making progress. Excellent.
Would you like some more?
No, thank you.
There's some more sprouts.
I
Peters?
said no, thank you. What about avoir? Can you still do that?
Not now, please, darling.
Why not? I don't think it's a particularly hard thing to ask. I mean, even I can do that, and I left school at 15.
Alison's only 13.
I realise that. I also realise that Alison's a non-cooperative, sullen little girl who needs to learn a few manners.
You haven't finished?
I've had enough, thanks.
Come back here. Alison!
You can't treat them like that, you know, you simply can't.
Like what? Like children, you mean?
Well, they're not... I don't know. They're not like we were.
You can say that again. Good God, if we have to be afraid now of asking our own children how they're doing at school. What sort of world do we live in? You know, the woman down at the police station today was making me feel as if I didn't know anything about my own children. Bloody nerve.
Well, Alison's upset about Andrew. That's only natural.
Of course she's upset. I'm upset too. Aren't I allowed to be upset?
Well, yes, of course you are.
You don't realize what the real world's like, stuck here in splendid isolation. You know the way Allison's going. She leaves school without a qualification to her name. That's what worries me. Fine, I managed. But it's different now. It's a tough world.
Stop it! Stop it or I shall scream. I don't care, quite frankly. I don't care about any of it, as long as we get Andrew back in one piece. He could be unemployed until he's 65, for all I care.
I'm not talking about Andrew.
All right, then, both of them!
Just as long as we get him back in one piece. Would you like some cake? I'm afraid it's all there is.
He cashed at Addleston Corner Post Office the day before yesterday. They think about 4 o'clock.
Must have nipped straight up the road after school.
That's right, ma'am.
How much did you take? The lot?
100, so you can take it any one time. They keep the book. They post it to Glasgow or somewhere, so he won't be getting any more.
Did they say anything to him? Ask him what he wanted it for? £100?
There's nothing they can do, ma'am. Not the signature's right. It's all legal and above board.
So, what did he want it for? What would you do with £100 in your hand?
I'd fly to New York.
One way?
Yeah. Once I got there, it wouldn't matter. I'd turn my hand to busking or something. No, I'd open a detective agency. The world's your oyster, New York. I've often fancied that.
Well, I think we can discount New York, particularly as he left his passport at home. If you were his age, what would you do?
Well, nowadays you can't be too careful, can you? You might have taken it just in case, well, a sort of nest egg.
At 15?
15's grown up.
His dad certainly did his level best to drum into him the vital importance of money. You know, you might even be right. What a depressing thought. I mean, what's the point of being young if you can't go mad occasionally? Good heavens.
What do you see then?
Oh, I can't remember. What was it? Goldilocks meets the Incredible Hulk or something.
Sounds interesting.
Oh, aye, highly grippy. Anyway, the lad thought so.
What about the missus?
What about her? She was at home with a good book. Well, a book, anyway. Philip likes us to go out on our own, you see. Man to man. Now he's older.
Goldilocks?
That was a joke.
Ready then?
Yes, Ma'am.
Don't want to get a detention, do we?
Terrible thing, nerves. You know, I could hardly think what my name was in my sergeant's exam.
So I heard. How many boys are in his class?
About 15. I talked to most of them yesterday.
The examination is now over. Finish the sentence you're on. Put your pens down.
You know, if they did this to dumb animals, they'd have the RSPCA onto them like a shot.
Well, they'd have to tie the pens to their paws, wouldn't they?
Remember,
Here we go.
observe exam conditions.
We won't keep them long.
Thank you. If you just stay here for a few minutes, Inspector
Darbley.
Inspector Darbley would like to have a word.
Thanks. I know you've all got to rush off and revise for your next exam, so I won't take long. You might not all know that a boy from your year has gone missing. His name's Andrew Patterson, and he was last seen around 4 o'clock on Monday when he cashed some money at Addleston Corner Post Office. You know the one just up the road opposite the church. Now, Sergeant Parrish here has talked to most of the boys in his class already, but we can't talk to all of you individually. But if any of you have any idea where he might have gone, or if you've seen him, or heard anything about him, or of anything at all that you think might help us, well, could you please tell us now? He won't be in trouble if we find him. All we want to do is to make sure he hasn't come to any harm. If you don't want anyone to see you talking to us, or if you're just shy, we shall be in room 5C for the next quarter of an hour. And of course, there's always someone at Hartley Police Station if you remember something later. Okay? Thank you. He walks out of school. He misses his last bit of private tuition before his exam. He has his savings book in his pocket, so he's obviously worked it all out beforehand. But then why miss his tuition? It's the quickest way to arouse suspicion.
You haven't met Mr. Beasley.
He could have endured it one last time and then gone off. Doesn't make sense.
My oldest 15, he hardly ever does anything that makes sense, not to my way of thinking.
He had enough sense to take his savings book. But he didn't take any clothes. Now, if you were really planning the Great Escape, wouldn't you take some clothes? Just a few in a school bag, perhaps? And wouldn't you tell someone? Or at least leave a message?
His parents haven't heard of Dickie Bird.
Come in. Hello. What can I do for you? It's about Andrew, is it?
Aye, miss. We saw him on Monday.
We? Come in.
A crowd of us, just after school. Well, it wasn't so much we saw him, more like ran into him.
Ran into him?
Sort of a joke, like, you know. I mean, it wasn't my idea.
Of course not. Go on.
Just for a laugh, that's all. He were dashing along. We came up behind him. We just sort of dragged him along a bit. Not far.
Did you often do that sort of thing? Just for a laugh?
No.
Then why in this case?
Dunno.
Didn't you like him?
No, not really. I mean, none of us did.
Why was that? Come on, why?
I dunno. I suppose because he wasn't much fun. He was always working.
Always what?
Working. Always working. Look, I don't know what you're getting at me for. I've done nothing wrong. I just came because you wanted to know if anyone had seen him. We let him go at the crossroads.
Just before the post office?
Aye. I mean, you're saying it's because of us he's vanished. That's daft.
I don't think it was, no. We think he'd already made his mind up. But put it this way, you didn't exactly help matters, you and your friends. And now I'd like their names.
Oh, no.
All of them, please.
Poor little beggar. He was petrified.
Poor little beggar, my foot. It's the poor little lad they've been persecuting I'm bothered about. Just because he worked hard. Thought that all went out with Billy Bunter.
Odd thing is, Beasley said he was lazy.
Lazy?
Aye. That's what most of the staff thought. Not very popular with them.
On account of not doing as well as they thought he ought?
I suppose so.
So who do we believe, then? His teachers or the other kids?
Well, his dad thought he was lazy too. That's why I got him this extra tuition.
Maybe Andrew just wasn't as clever as everybody thought. It's a possibility, isn't it?
So he had to keep slaving away to try and keep up.
Didn't want to disappoint everyone.
Glad my lads are playing thick.
The best days of your life, eh? Whoever said that?
A grown-up, I should say.
Right.
Good afternoon. Could I speak to Inspector Darbley, please?
I'm sorry, sir. She's not available at the moment.
I'll rephrase that, young man. I want to speak to her now.
Well, I'm afraid that's not possible, sir. She isn't here.
What is it, tea break, coffee break?
You just give me your name, sir. I'm sure she'll get in touch. Could you just tell me what it's about?
I want to speak to someone in authority.
You can speak to me, sir. That's what I'm here for.
I said in authority.
I am an authority. I'm in charge of this desk at the moment.
What are you, a constable?
I am, sir. And I'm afraid I'm the only person who's available. So if you can tell me what it is I can do for you, or perhaps you'd like to come back later.
I don't think I like your tone.
There's not much I can do about that. It's the way I always talk. Sir?
How dare you? I said I want to speak to someone in authority.
Oh, Mr. Patterson, you're looking for me, I assume.
I certainly am.
What's your problem?
Apart from your young constable here,
What about my young constable?
we'll leave that for the moment. I've come here to tell you, to warn you, that as you've done precisely nothing to find my son so far...
On the contrary.
You haven't found him, though?
Not as yet, no, but it is only 2 days.
Well, then I'm afraid I found it necessary to take the law into my own hands.
How do you mean?
I've informed the local papers of his disappearance.
We've already done that.
I've also let it slip that I'm less than delighted with the way you've handled the matter so far.
Was that really wise?
Perhaps not. But some of us have to stand and be counted. That's the trouble with this country. Everyone's afraid. Too scared to complain. Well, I'm not. And I'm here to tell you that, Inspector. I'm willing to do anything to get my son back.
Mr. Patterson.
Well?
I assure you we'll continue to do all we can, too. Nothing you say or do will make any difference to that. But it would help if in future you could work with rather than against us. What was all that about, David?
Sorry, Mum?
You weren't insolent to that gentleman, I hope?
No, Mum, of course
not.
not.
No, what happened?
Well, he was just being a bit offensive. How about you for a start?
And what was your reaction?
I got a bit, well, formal, I suppose.
Formal?
Formal. That's right, Mum, yeah.
Remember, we're not just thief catchers, David. We're everything from mind readers to counsellors to shoulders to cry on, which is what Mr. Patterson is after, if I'm not mistaken. When you agree, Joseph?
Never met the gentleman, ma'am. Only his missus.
What about her? Is it worth talking to her again?
I wouldn't say so, no. I'd say she's as much in the dark as we are. Besides, it'd only upset her. I'd say she's been upset enough already.
Well, we won't get anything else out of Mr. Patterson, that's for sure. We're ground to a halt. A dead halt. It's ridiculous. There must be someone we can talk to.
There's always the daughter.
Right, let's talk to her. Good idea, Joseph.
In here, Alison.
Thank you, Mrs. Etherington. Thank you very much.
I am sorry we couldn't find you anywhere more comfortable. It really is the only space available at the moment.
Not to worry, it's just a little chat. Shouldn't take long. Take a seat, then. All right, stand if you want to. I don't mind. You'll not mind if I sit down, though. I'm sure you'd like to, Mum.
Thank you.
You know, I used to go to a school like this. Only it wasn't a girls' school, of course. What is it, then? Is it me or the uniform?
What do you want to know?
You and your brother, you get on all right?
Okay, why?
You sure about that?
I suppose.
Well, do you, don't you?
What did my mum say?
I'm asking you.
We get on fine, yes.
Then why didn't he tell you where he was off to? It's a bit odd.
Probably didn't know himself was that vague.
Vague? Your mum and dad don't seem to think so, do they? I'd say they think he's the bee's knees.
I know.
So you're right and they're wrong.
Naturally.
Do you go around much together, you and Andrew?
Not really.
But you get on well, that's what you
I
said.
told you we get on very well.
Well, then why didn't you, go around together?
Because Dad would have hit the roof if he'd gone to half the places I go.
What sort of places are they, then?
Nothing very evil. It's all in his mind. He thinks we're up to all sorts of things. Wish we were.
But he lets you go. He doesn't mind that.
Of course he minds. He minds every bloody thing we do.
But not as much as if Andrew had gone.
No. Might do something to his brain cells.
You're not very keen on your dad, are you?
Do you have to have special training to see things like that? Or does it come naturally? Thought you'd be out making door-to-door inquiries or dragging the canals. Isn't that what you do when someone goes missing?
Not often, no. We usually find the answers much closer to home.
What's that supposed to mean?
Just what I said.
It's no use looking at me. I've not done anything.
I'm glad to hear it.
What do you think I've done? Cut off his head and buried him in back garden?
It seems to me, I may be wrong, but it seems to me you're either a very callous young lady or you know there's nothing the matter with your brother. Is that right?
Can I go back to my class now?
No, not yet. I haven't finished.
We said it wouldn't take long.
I'm only human. I can be mistaken like anybody else. Where is he, then? You do know, don't you?
Do I?
Why don't you want us to find him?
Who said I don't?
Look, come on, love. I haven't got all day. I don't know what you think you're up to, who you're trying to score off. But whatever game it is you're playing, count me out. I just want to know where your brother is, that's all. All right, then. We'll wait. Sorry about this, ma'am.
No, not at all.
I thought you hadn't got all day.
I have, if necessary.
That's fine, then.
What do you mean by that, then?
It'll be too late by then, anyhow.
Too late for what?
I don't know.
You said to Sergeant Beck...
He went on at me. He wouldn't stop. I had to say something.
So you just said the first thing that came into your head? Oh, come on, Alice, love.
I've not done anything wrong.
Then what have you done?
Nothing.
That's not true. You know it's not. You've done something, haven't you?
I want to go home.
Your mother will be here soon. You don't want her to know you've not been telling the truth, do you?
I've not told you any lies.
That's not quite the same thing, is it? I'm talking about everything. Everything, you know. I think you've only told us bits of it so far. All right, then. Do you know what he wanted all that money for?
What money?
You know what money. The money in his savings account. He drew out £100. We know where and we know when, but we don't know why. Not yet. Can you tell us? Alison.
Oh, let me alone. Stop it. Stop it. It's got nothing to do with you.
Nothing to do with us?
No, nothing at all.
How do you make that out?
Because it hasn't.
It has, Alison. It has everything to do with us. It's our job to find your brother. And you're just trying to stop us, aren't you?
Why'd you have to stick your nose in? It would have been all right if you hadn't stuck your noses in.
How do you mean it would have been all right? You mean it would have all been sorted out by now?
I mean, it's got nothing to do with you. It's a family matter. It would have been all right.
Go on. What would have happened to make it all right? You mean Andrew's coming back, is that it?
Yes.
Then he's safe?
Yes.
Then you must tell us where he is, Alison. You must tell me the exact spot. Please. Come in.
Excuse me, Mum, it's just that Mrs. Patterson's arrived.
Tell her to go away!
Tell her I'll be right out.
Mum.
Don't you want to see your mother?
Of course I do. That's why I said tell her to go away.
We asked her to come here. She should be here with you.
Bit late then, isn't she?
I'm sure she came as quickly as she could. Why don't you want to see her?
I'm not a baby. I can look after myself.
Like your brother. Did he think he could look after himself? Was he fed up with everyone telling him what to do all the time? Expecting things from him? Is that why he ran away, to show he was grown up? Was it?
Wouldn't you like to know? Where are you going?
To get your mother, all right.
Fine.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Mrs.
What's
Patterson.
happening? I don't understand. Why can't I see Alison?
Of course you can see her. If you'd like to come this way.
What's she done? She's done something, hasn't she?
I don't know about done, Mrs. Patterson, but we think she knows where your son is.
What?
We think she knows where Andrew is.
Where is he?
We don't know, I'm afraid, not yet. But if you'd like to come this way...
No, wait a minute. That's impossible. If she'd known, she would have told me. Just don't believe it. I mean, I know my daughter better than that. You must have got her so upset that she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's got no right to talk to me without me anyway. I suggest you Alison. Alison, darling, this woman says that you know where Andrew is. Well, that's not true, is it? Alison?
I really think we should go into my office...
Look, I'm trying to talk to my daughter! Alison, darling, you don't have to worry anymore. You don't have to answer any more questions. I'm going to take you home now.
I'm afraid that's not possible.
Alison, Alison.
Now, will you tell us where he is, please? Is this it?
Stay here, Joseph. Come on then, after you.
We used to play here when we were kids.
Right here. Didn't you have a garden?
We could do what we wanted here. It was the only place there was.
Ah, good afternoon, young man. Time to get up.
Of all the damn fool, irresponsible things to do, it's absolutely incredible. Where is he?
He's getting cleaned up. He hasn't washed for 2 days. He shouldn't be long.
He's all right, though.
He seems absolutely fine. A little tired.
Well, he won't be fine when I've got a word with him.
Look, we've got him back and in one piece. Let's just leave it at that.
You do realise he'll have to sit the whole lot again, every bloody exam. He'll have to wait till January, probably. I simply can't believe it. All those months of effort completely down the drain.
I am sorry we've been such a nuisance. And I would like to thank you honestly for all you've done for us.
Yes, of course, me too.
That's what we're here for.
But why would he do such a thing? Such a meaningless, stupid thing? Or what was it, a prank?
I don't think so, no. They seem to have worked it out rather too thoroughly for that.
They?
I'm afraid your daughter is involved, yes. They worked out the whole thing together, apparently. They put the tent up last week, she told me. It's a small green tent.
Oh, yes, we bought it for Alison when she was in Brownies. You remember, it's been gathering dust in the attic for years.
And there's a blue sleeping bag and a couple of
prime
tin
stove
plates.
and a frying pan.
Cookery.
Yes, it's all Alison's.
Sergeant Beck's gone back with Alison to clear it all up.
Oh, that's very kind. They must have sneaked it out when we weren't looking one day.
But why both of them? It's like a kick in the teeth. All the time and money we spent on them. And all they can do is throw it right back in our faces. What have we done? Are they paying us back for something? Is that it?
I don't know, Mr. Patterson. They didn't tell me. Perhaps you ought to ask them yourself.
Later, though, when it's all settled. I think perhaps we better take Andrew home now, if he's ready, if that's all right with you.
I'll see if I can hurry him up.
I've always tried to give them everything, haven't I? I've done my best to instill decent, responsible values into I really have. Trying to make them realize the value of hard work, success. Well, what's wrong with that, for God's sake? Is there anything wrong with that?
I'll get Andrew, shall I?
Next on Drama, we catch up with London's finest police. The good folk of Sun Hill are on the beat. In the bill.
How could I? My own dad.
So, you made it then?
What did you think?
Well, you know, in the old days, you could always trust a Bobby's word, but nowadays... Time to put in a little distance, then.
Could give it half an hour. Bit of rare old shiner there, John. Been arguing with a lamppost.
Oh, I got in the way of someone else's present last night at the club.
One of the boys.
One of the girls, you female chauvinist. One of the girls. Right cat fight. Stepped in to stop it and wallop. Right on the end of one of Jenny's Charlie Magries.
Oh, bit of a toughie, is she?
Eh? No, not normally. Wouldn't say boo to a budgie.
Morning, Danny.
Oh, morning, Mom.
Lovely display. I'm sorry to disturb you, officer. I wonder if you could help. I appear to have lost my damn car.
Probably a good thing, if you don't mind me saying so, sir.
I couldn't agree more. I don't suppose you'd care to finish this off, would you? I think I've had just about enough.
Morning, Frankie.
Morning, Skip.
I beg your pardon. Good morning, Sergeant, if I'm not mistaken.
Good Lord. What do you got there, Danny?
Mr. Martin Galston, Sarge.
Yes, without an E.
Found him in the High Street.
Yes, we have a common interest in computers.
Arrest?
No, lost property inquiry, actually.
Yes, you see, I've lost my damn car.
Thank the Lord for that.
That's what I said.
I couldn't agree more.
I wonder if you'd mind taking a seat over there, sir, while I have a little chat with me constable.
I'd be delighted. My feet are killing me. I seem to have been walking for hours around. Oh, what is the name of this town?
Hartley.
Hartley. How nice. Yorkshire?
Nearly, but not quite.
Still, never mind. Apparently, it was a girl in any case. I don't suppose you'd care for a drop of champagne?
No, not before my breakfast, thanks very much.
Sensible fellow. Well, I'll just have a sit.
Constable Sparks, you have just been given a major clue into solving the mystery of the missing car. And the reason for the gentleman's probably unwounded in sobriety. Let's hear the answer.
Come on, Jenny, love. Time for up. Daddy'll be home this evening by the time you get back from school. Full of his business trip. Wouldn't like to have to tell him you were late. Oh, Jenny, no.
You're early?
Aye, couldn't sleep. Keep having nightmares about all these healthy young coppers we got around the station these days.
Morning, Sarge.
Yeah, I reckon a few years there'll be no stripes if you can't do a 4-minute mile.
Could be right. Quiet night.
Very pleasant. Care to finish it, says he's had enough.
What, spoil the taste of my hot bacon sandwich?
A hot bacon butty, now that is a lovely thought. Would you hold the fort while I pop out for a bit?
But of course.
Anne.
So, what's the story?
Comes in the form of a conundrum, actually. Are you ready to have your brain power tested?
Well, it's a bit early in the morning, but give it a whirl.
All right, here goes. Is Hartley in Yorkshire, he says. No, says I. Never mind, says he. It was a girl in any case.
She checked the hospital with a car.
Yeah, found it by emergency. I rang and checked with the ward's sister. The baby was born just before 6. The dad said he was popping out to his car to get something to celebrate with, and he hasn't been seen since.
Obviously not a regular drinker.
Obviously.
I still don't get it.
Sarge, there's Marston's paper shop on the phone. Apparently they're getting dozens of complaints in a missing papers.
All right, ready in a minute.
Yes, sir. I'd like to talk to the police, please. My daughter's run away from home.
And how old is the girl? I see. Ever done anything like this before? No. Now, don't go worrying yourself, Mrs. Parsons. Look, I'll get a WPC to pop round and see you now. Get all the details, all right? Yeah, now don't you worry, look. Within a few minutes. No, it's no trouble. You did the right thing to call. Yes, yes. Very soon.
Trouble?
Runaway girl, 13.
Problem?
No, left a note, so that's one problem out of the way. This damn kids simply got no idea. Anne, just come to look for you. Mrs. Parsons, right? The daughter's
Go
on the
ahead,
way.
sir.
She's
It's happened
only
again.
13.
Only worse this time. He's took me paper as well now. Not content with taking me milk, he's took to taking me times.
Educated chap, you reckon, Billy?
It's not funny, Joe. It's just not right. Twice last week he had me milk, 3 times the week before, and now he's took me paper as well. I want to make an official complaint.
George?
Why don't you have a little...
Now, look, I pay my rates for the police, I pay the news agents for the papers, I pay the milkman for me milk, and what do I get? No milk, no papers, and now no police
Good
protection.
morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Sergeant?
Mrs. Parsons?
Yes?
I'm WPC Anne James from Hartley Police Station. Can I come in?
Yes, please do.
No, I says, not in Yorkshire. Never mind, says he. Apparently, it was a girl in any case.
Just think if it had been a boy.
Disastrous.
And the car?
At the hospital as expected.
How's the wife?
Fine.
Yeah, I rang again to check. The sister says she's sleeping like a baby, as is the baby.
As is he. Went off again as soon as he sat down.
Well, just for once, I think it'll do no harm to let him sleep in the snooker room while you get on with your enquiries. But I'm not setting any precedent. I don't like the idea of someone who's drunk too much sleeping it off in my station. Unless they happen to be booked and bedded down for the night official. Sit down.
It's a nice room, isn't it?
Yes. She chose the colours and fabrics herself. She's got very good colour sense. Hopes to go on to art school. And Jeff and I, that's my husband, we like to encourage her every way we can. Jeff's like that. Very easygoing. Doesn't believe in us being fuddy-duddy parents. You know, just strict like some are. Keeps us both young, he says.
And where's your husband now, Mrs. Parsons?
He's been away for the weekend, checking some property that's coming on the market, other side of the county. He's an estate agent, you see. We own the shop in the high street.
Of course, Parsons.
Yes, that's it. I left a message that he should call as soon as he gets back.
Oh, good. I'd like to talk to him as well. See if there's any idea as to why she might have gone. Is this the note?
Yes.
Sorry, Mum. Got to get away. Try to forgive me. Don't forget I love you, Jenny. Doesn't give a lot away. There's no mention of your husband.
Well, you know what girls are. Sometimes it's one that's in favour, sometimes the other.
I'll hang on to this if you don't mind. Well, I'm going to have to make a list of any close friends and relatives, you know, anyone you think she might go to. Then I'll get over to the school and see a teacher.
No, not her school.
Well, it seems a bit strange, Mum. I mean, milk you can understand. It's sitting there on the doorstep just waiting to be snaffled. And the odd paper you can make allowances for, but I mean, who would want dozens of the same issue?
Unless somebody's got it in for the news agent.
Or was setting up in business by themselves.
I'll pop in and have a chat with a few news agents while I'm out, see if there's any pattern. I was just popping out for a sandwich for my break, Mum. Hot bacon.
Right. Well, I think that's about everything. Oh, I would like to see Anne as soon as she gets back with that report on the missing girl.
Yes, Mum.
Anything else?
No.
Good. It really does taste much nicer than you both think.
I'll stick with my bacon butty if it's all the same with you, Matt.
Pamela? Oh. I got your message. Pam? What is it?
Jenny's run away from home.
What?
A policewoman's just left.
But why?
I don't know, Jeff. Perhaps you'd like to tell me.
Come in. Oh, yes. Come in, Anne. Grab a seat. How are you settling down?
Oh, fine, Mum, thank you. It's a bit strange at first. I suppose it always will be, going to a new station, meeting so many new people.
Yes. Never changes, I'm afraid. Nice thing is, we're both feeling a bit strange at the same time.
You, Mum?
Oh, yes. As I say, never changes. The family relationship strike you?
Well, they don't keep her on a very tight rein. The mother said her husband thinks too much discipline is as bad as too little. Not sure that she agrees, mind, but apparently the girl doesn't take advantage, always gets home at a reasonable time.
Any special boyfriend at the moment?
No, but they did tell her last year if she wanted to go on the pill, they'd understand.
At 13?
I know what you mean, ma'am, but I thought it best not to comment. Turned out she said, no, thank you very much, I'm going to save myself for my husband.
Funny sort of way that sounds just as quaint these days, doesn't it?
Yes, Mum.
You didn't meet the father?
No, he's been away for a weekend on business. He's due back this morning.
So? What's it all about?
Well, it's hard to say, Mum, until we get to know more. Parents are funny things. They always think they know the kids so well, but the mother said, why didn't she come to us if she had a worry? But there are some things you can't talk to the most knowing of parents about, aren't there, Mum?
Yes. How prepared was she for the off?
Well, just an overnight bag with enough clothes for a day or so, plus 30-odd pounds she'd saved since her last birthday.
So, where from here?
Well, I've got a list of relatives and friends to check up on, but before that, I thought I'd have a quick pop round the coach station, show a photograph around, see if we can tie her down to a destination.
Good. What about school?
Oh, yes. Oh, the school, Mum. That's the funny thing. I was going to mention it. The mother had already rung in to say the girl was ill, wouldn't be in today. Even before she rang us. That's something I've never come across before.
Any explanation?
Well, said it was because the husband was on the PTA and the teachers often call back for a coffee. Didn't want the embarrassment of them knowing. But why ring them first?
Registration Sierra Bravo Yankee 935.
Get up! Damn it! Down!
Okay, got that, John. We'll check
You
it out and
can't
get
leave
back
me
to you.
Still, will you?
What they are?
Jimmy, down on you! No, get up!
Hey!
One more word out of you, silly boy. And not only will you be charged with damaging police property, namely one Sergeant Beck, but also with causing an affray, breach of the peace, and insulting behaviour, to mention but a few items.
Sergeant, you mean he's a policeman? How was I supposed to know that? It could have been a child molester or anything. How was I supposed to know he was police?
Because he's Sergeant Beck, boy, and everybody knows Sergeant Beck. He's more famous than the cross in Hartley Market Square. And why? Because he's been in Hartley longer than the cross in Hartley Market Square. And Sergeant Beck knows everybody. Who is he, Joe?
No idea.
Right. Sir. Perhaps you'd be kind enough to give me your name, address, and date of birth, please.
No, I know my rights.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid you're going to have to speak up a bit, miss.
So you put me in touch with a lawyer.
I thought it was a bacon butter you were bringing back, Joe.
I didn't get the chance, ma'am. Came across a master criminal loose in the high street. He's refusing to give his name.
Really?
A little
You didn't know him?
To the phone.
That's Frankie. Frankie Costello lives in Loughton Street. Morning, Frankie.
Say it again, would you?
Take him through Dean's good, would you? Mr. Constable, I'll be along there shortly.
No. No, you see, I can't do that, you see. No, there's no woman on duty at the moment. No, the WPC has just popped out, won't I do? No, I'm sorry, love. There's not a single woman in the station. Or a married one, come to that. Just a minute, hang on, would you? Hang on a moment. Sorry, ma'am, there's a young woman on the phone, sounds only about 13 or 14, and wants to speak to a woman rather than a bloke. Probably, you know, woman's troubles. I don't suppose, ma'am, that you
yes,
could...
of course, ma'am. Be my pleasure.
Thanks, ma'am.
Hello? Yes. Inspector Longton. Can I help? Yes, I have. Kate, as it happens. And you? You don't want to say? Well, how can I help you? George, contact the engineers and get a trace on this call. We've got a suicide in our hands. Joe, get on the extension.
Not taken much.
Just that squishy back. One change. A few night things, that's all. Plus old Teddy.
It'll be all right. I promise it'll be all right. Oh, God, no. Not that.
I'm just popping out. I'm not going to the office. Just for a walk and a think. I'll be back soon.
No, I know it's not easy, but just do the best you can, eh? Yeah, we'll keep it talking as long as possible this end. Okay, I'll hold on.
Do what you want, darling. Live your life. Mummy and I will understand. So I took penicillin and Largasol. 25 penicillin. 35 of the Largasol.
Oh!
Hello, can I help you? Hello, anyone there?
Sorry, it's a personal call, rather urgent. I'd like to speak to Margot, please. You tell her it's George calling. That's right, George Lamont.
They can share me without remorse. Share me so much that you can't go on living with it. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm guessing I'd rather still retain a little bit of dignity.
What's your name? Can you tell me your name, now that we're friends?
There's no point. The name's not important. I'm just a representative. There's thousands of kids out there who feel how I feel. The only difference is I'm not as brave as they are. I haven't the courage to go on facing it. I'm going to die instead. That's why I've took what I've took.
So, where do we go from here?
Obviously not the main road. If it is in town, must be a quiet side street.
Not enough time to get a fix. They'll keep a man on the line in case she comes back on.
Right. Brian, get me the local Samaritans, put it straight through to my office.
It won't do any good, ma'am, talking to them. You see, they're not allowed to disclose. I mean, I do know a bit about it, you see.
Who do you think you're talking to, Constable? I'm not used to having my orders quibbled with. Now get on that phone and get me the Samaritans.
It's me. Jenny's run away. No, she's not ill. She's run away. And she's taken She's taking Pamela's tablets with her. That's right. She must have found out somehow. Look, I've got to see you now. Make sure we haven't slipped up somewhere. About 5 minutes, okay? I'll be waiting outside in the car.
Samaritans, can I help you?
Yes, this is Hartley Police Station, Inspector Longton speaking. We just had a call in from a young girl, early teens, says she's going to commit suicide. Refuses to give her name and address. Wondered if you could help.
I'm sorry, it's not possible to give any information about our clients.
I beg your pardon.
I said we can't give any information about anyone who's in touch with us, our clients.
But at least you can tell me if you've been speaking to a 13-year-old girl this morning.
I'm sorry, no. I can't give any information about anyone who's in touch with us.
She is going to die.
I really am very sorry, but we can't help you. If the person gets in touch, or has been in touch, we will be talking to them, you can be sure of that. But I can't talk about it with you.
I've checked the tablets you mentioned, ma'am. If she's taken the amount she says she has, she'll be dead before the morning's out.
Contact Anne James. I want her back here as quickly as possible, manning the phone in my office. Any other calls from the girl to be put straight through to her in the engineer's info.
Yes, ma'am.
I intend to work on the assumption that our missing girl is also the attempted suicide. George.
Hartley to 3011.
Contact John Holden at the youth club. There
Hartley
was a
to
fight at the club disco last night. Girl also called Jenny. Find out if it's our girl. If so, who the other girls were she was fighting with. I shall want to speak to an individual. No time. Ask him to find out what it was all about and ring in. He'll know how to handle it. I'll go with the parents.
Right, Mom.
Joe, you're with me.
You found her? She's all right?
I'm sorry, no. No, we haven't found her yet. Mind if I come in? I'd like to ask you a few more questions, see if we can get a lead on her.
What if it's someone else comes on, headquarters or something?
No, no other calls apart from the girls that we put through. All right. Go on. Try for size. You won't get another chance to play at being inspector for a while. All right.
Yes, Sarge. Lovely.
Now, I'll be listening out there, so don't go worrying yourself about telling us what she's saying, okay?
Right, Sarge. I'll do my best.
I know you will. Good luck.
I was hoping to speak to your husband. Is he here?
He's just popped out for a while. To think.
Why has she run away, Mrs. Parsons? You do know why she's gone, don't you?
No. No, not really. It's just that my husband has to go away quite often at weekends. Business things, you know. And it seems she always gets very much on edge when he's away for some reason.
He was away this weekend?
Yes. Just got back a short while ago.
Was Jenny any more upset than usual while he was away?
Well, no. In fact, it was a bit better this time, because her teacher, Miss Renton, at Barrow Lane, was also away, visiting friends. And she'd asked Jenny to look after her cat, feed it and what have you. Lovely little Siamese one it is. Ashley. And it helped her. Jenny, that is. It kept her occupied.
Was she just her usual self last night? There wasn't anything upsetting her?
Well, when she got back from the disco, down at the youth club, she had a couple of small scratches on her face. And when I asked about them, she said not to fuss, but quite snappy, which wasn't like her at all. Said the cat had scratched her, which is fine, but why not just say it had scratched her instead of biting my head off?
Did you have an argument about it?
Oh, no. I find it best not to argue. Same applies to Geoffrey, my husband. I'm not a great one for arguments. Rather just let things drift along. Let things sort themselves out in their own good time. You know. They always do, finally. Don't they?
I've got to ask you just one more question, Mrs. Parsons. It's very usual for runaway children to try to give the parents a bit of an extra fright sometimes. There's no way your daughter could have got hold of some Benethline or Largosol tablets?
What's going on, Jeff? What's this all about?
I think Jenny must have found out about us. It's the only thing I can think of that would make her run away.
God.
Station's just been on. Your friend at the youth club's come up trumps. It was our girl involved in the fight. He contacted one of the other girls who works local and discovered the nasty truth about what they were baiting her with.
That the father was having an affair with a form teacher? Shot in the dark. Weekends matching up too well.
One of the girls came across the secret love nest. Now everybody knows where it is.
She's taken my tablets.
Hello?
Is that the inspector's office?
Yes.
Is Kate there?
No, Kate's not here at the moment. I'm Anne. Do you mind if I talk to you instead?
Is she coming from here?
I'm Inspector Longton from Hartley Station. Do you have any idea where I could find Miss Renton?
Where can she possibly have gone if she's considering anything as stupid as that?
Lord knows.
Jeff? She's got the keys to my flat.
Oh, no!
I think it's the father's car. YFV 69B. Check it out, will you? I'm pretty sure they're heading to where the daughter is.
Sergeant Beck to Hartley.
But nobody's going to do anything about it. Not what they've done together. I'm not bothered what they've done together, but using me like that. She even tried to make a special friend of me, so she could come and talk to me at home. Asked me to feed a cat. And everyone knew but me. How could he do it to me? My own father. A laughing stock. He made me a laughing stock.
Hartley to Sergeant Beck. Hartley to Sergeant Beck.
Sergeant Beck.
The girl was back on, but rang off too quickly for us to trace it again. But there's something that might help. The last thing she said was, "Tell Daddy I hope he and Miss Renton still enjoy lying in this bed now I've died on it." Find the bed and you found the girl.
I think we may have already found her. Out.
Is she? She's not there.
Couldn't have got out, Jeff. That's not what it is that's made her run away. Couldn't have got out.
Couldn't it, Miss Renton?
No. We kept it more secret than you can possibly imagine.
Not secret enough. It did get out, didn't it? You two have made Jenny a laughingstock. That's a very hard one to live with when you're 14. Look, Mr. Parkinson, your daughter may be dying. We've got to find her. Where could she be? Think, man, think! Where could she be?
I just don't know.
No.
She's been on the phone again.
Did you trace it?
Now listen, she says she hopes you both enjoy lying in the bed now she's died on it.
Good God, the cottage.
How could she possibly have known about it?
Doesn't matter how, where.
Just out of town, near Old Mill Woods.
Come on.
Just give us your address and we'll come and help you. Just give us your address, Jenny. That's all we need. Jenny. Can you hear me? St. Martin's, can I help you?
I thought I'd let you know. The police know where Jenny is now. Jeff's gone with them to collect her. I'm sure she's going to be all right. You know about us, don't you? I just called round to say I'll be leaving. Leaving the school, leaving the town. It's finished.
So what did he say?
I'd take her, wash her out, and pray.
Liver?
They'll know by tomorrow, one way or the other. Well, clap that, Joe.
Something, love?
Nest of love. I think it's about time children started talking to the parents.
Aye, perhaps. Mind you, it won't do any good. Parents will go on doing daft things in any case.
Many thanks for the hospitality, Sergeant.
Glad you're feeling better, sir.
Yes, apart from the head, that is. Well, I'd better get off, see the wife and newborn.
Oh, the thanks are due to the inspector.
Ah, thank you, Inspector. I'm very sorry if I've been any bother.
Oh, no bother. I like to make visitors welcome. Sorry you didn't quite make Yorkshire.
Oh, you heard. Yes, well, it would be dreadful, I admit, having a son who wasn't allowed to play cricket for them, just because I didn't manage to get him born in the right county. Still, luckily it was a girl.
And girls not allowed.
To be honest, I'm quite pleased. Well, girls are so much less trouble than boys, aren't they?
And you'd like me to check tomorrow?
If you would. I'd like to know if she finally pulls through. Thanks, Twain. You still haven't managed to get your bacon butty, Joe.
No, I thought I might actually give it a miss today, ma'am. Saw the way you ran up them stairs at the flats. Thought there might be something in this yoghurt stuff after all.